Fremantle were disappointing in their season opener, losing to St Kilda by 15 points. They're at home for the first time in 2023, up against a round one winner in the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Those in blue and white with their new coach in the West, looking to go 2 and blot to start the season after they had a courageous win over the West Coast Eagles. The question during the week, Nat Fyfe, would he play forward again? Would he play in the midfield? How would he play? The answer is simply he's not going to. He's a late out for the Fremantle Dockers with a foot injury. The youngster Jai Amos comes in for those in the purple. The subs for the Fremantle Dockers, Michael Walters, who looked in good nick for Peel Thunder in a scratchy last week, while for North Melbourne, Daniel Howe will get an opportunity off the subs bench to play his first game of the season. Welcome to Perth Stadium. It's a patchwork-looking surface. Clint Wilden with you, 13 days on from an Ed Sheeran concert. It seems like this has been discussed in footy before. They've had to do an awful lot of relaying of turf, some 12,000 square metres. And while it doesn't look the best so far in the warm-ups, we haven't seen anyone from Fremantle or from North Melbourne troubled with their footing. Hopefully that will remain the case today. No slip-ups from Fremantle, that's what's required. A team hoping perhaps to finish in the top four cannot afford to be 0-2 to start the season. Alongside me, Dave Lindsay. Welcome, Dave.
Great to see you, Clint. Yes, looking forward to this one. Fascinating to see how Fremantle respond. So disappointing last week. Such huge expectations on them this season. They didn't live up to it last week, whereas Alistair Clarkson got away to the perfect start. 1 from 1 for him. Can he find something with his boys out here to create another upset?
Great to have our two experts, familiar voices to us on Grandstand AFL here on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital, and of course now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL Extra button for this game. We've got a Brownlow medalist in Shane Woden, a premiership player in Sharrod Wellingham. Gentlemen, this is a massive one for both of these clubs. North Melbourne under Alistair Clarkson, he said, what happened last week, that can't be a one-off. We want to be a winning team at North Melbourne, while for the Fremantle Dockers, so disappointing last week. They can't afford to let this one slip. This should be a beauty, Shane.
Yes, afternoon, Clint. Afternoon, everybody. Great to be here for another campaign, 2023. Exactly right. Just looking for consistency of effort with the Kangaroos, just to back up what they did. Round one tends to be a bit emotional. New coach, Harry Sheasel, debut, rising star, new environment, new everything. Can they back it up? For Fremantle's point of view, I'm not really phased about the forward-half connection. That was there. They just bombed the St Kilda defender well. I'm more the defenders. And are they going to be brave enough and bold enough this week to be able to be a bit more aggressive with their ball movement so these forwards can get looks and can get one-on-ones and not be double-teamed and triple-teamed. So just to enable them to be able to score a bit more freely.
Sharrod, Willie, what does Nat Fyfe not playing mean for Fremantle?
Oh, it's a little bit of a hard one to answer easily. Are they better without him? Because I remember last year, the games where he was out injured, I thought that the midfield operated better and had a little bit more of a dynamic look to it. And I said that multiple times. I really liked the midfield when he wasn't spending as much time in there. But then it's so hard to say that when he is as good a player as he is and can have such an impact on a game. Forward, I think that he can impact a game for them. He just needs to iron out a few things, a few of his leading patterns and demand the ball. Like you said, well, if they get it in there quicker, that's going to really help him.
Absolutely.
And get it into him one-on-one. He will be unbeatable with his one-on-one. But him being the focal point in a contest isn't the way that they're going to get the ball down there and retain possession or him impact the contest correctly.
So I ask you this, one of the pluses with him not being there, with as good as he can be as a player, is we get to see a little bit more of Jai Amos. Yeah. And this is what we were expecting from Fremantle this year, an opportunity to see the likes of Amos and then in the midfield, Erasmus and Johnson develop. We haven't seen those two youngsters in the mids yet, but I'm really keen to see Jai Amos. We know he likes to lead up. We know he can take a good mark, and he's got a lovely left foot. Here's another opportunity to get a game into him for the future for Freo.
So he's played 3 games. He's not really experienced, and we don't know what we're going to get from him. But I think they have to get 10 to 12 games into it this year. Yep. Like you said, Willie, he loves hitting up at the foot of the player coming at him, and that's what they need. They need a little bit of direction
Connection.
and connection. Exactly,
Mid-forward,
mid-forward connection. Someone coming at the player. It'll invite them to move the ball quicker as well.
Correct. Yeah, it's a huge in. I think it's fantastic. Unfortunately, we don't get to see Nat as a forward. And, geez, we put a lot of heat on him after last week, didn't we? You know, I don't blame him at all when you got bought 65 entries, getting bombed in all the time. No forward. And they're not great contested marks. Fife, Tabernar, Tracy, Jackson, they're not going to be great like that. They need to be one-on-one. So, you know, last week, Freo's backs 190 disposals and 90 marks between 7 of them. Just lateral movement across the ground. Hit your 45, get in the corridor, get some overlap, and get it going quick.
And Ryan can start that. He's the one who I really like when he does have that confidence and go about him. When he plays with that aggression towards the corridor, it just does. It changes the whole way that Fremantle play. So a lot is on his shoulders with the way they want to play. Cox is going to be amazing at turning it over, but then I want to see them move it into his hands and play with that aggression.
Absolutely.
What do Fremantle do with Nick Larkey? He would be coming in full of confidence after 6 goals last week.
Oh, absolutely. But how uncompetitive were West Coast's defence last week to enable him to be able to kick 6 goals. He's not going to get that freedom today with Cox, Ryan, Pearce. You know, there'll be more contest, more one-on-one. So I do need to move it quickly and give him the space, though.
I'm interested to see North Melbourne's work rate in person, because that was one of my question marks on them over the last couple of years, was their lack of willingness to work really hard across the field. If they can bring that, then that's a mindset that Clarkson will have instilled in them over the summer, and that's huge for them because they've got the talent there. They've got a nice young talented list with some experience as well. I think that they've got a reasonably good mix, but the work rate wasn't there to back it up.
Does Sheasel play back again today?
I think so. Let him settle in and be really comfortable in that role. Even if it is for the whole year, you don't have to rush him, and he's obviously going to grow into a midfielder with the way that he moves and can read the ball. I was so impressed.
It's a great move, isn't it?
Yeah.
He drafted as a forward, spent probably pre-Christmas as a forward, and only the last couple of months of pre-season training as a defender.
And Clarkson's obviously really good at doing that. I think he did it with a number of players.
It's good for a young person's development, isn't it, as an 18-year-old.
And reading the game and watching it come at you instead of trying to create space and be a bit inventive.
You get bigger bodies on you too. So.
Yeah, and you get used to the game. And it also gives you a really good starting point. Like, you've got a reference point as to where you've got to go. All right, there's my man. That's where I'm going to. Instead of going, I've got to find space here and create something for myself. And so I really like the move by Clarko to have done that.
Repeating, if you've just joined us, you're on Grandstand AFL from Perth Stadium. Clint Wilden alongside Dave Lindsay in commentary. Our experts Shane Woden and Sharad Wellingham. Late out, a big one too for Fremantle. Nat Fife missing with a foot injury. Coming into the side is the young forward in Jai Amos. How would Todd Goldstein be feeling right now? He's, within touching distance of being the 6th North Melbourne player to play 300 games. He's on 296 games today coming back in after being omitted in the first week. Gets his opportunity because of the injury to Sherry. He's a proud man and a really, really solid servant of this football club. How would he be coming in?
He would have been disappointed and a bit gutted last week. You know, I think as a senior player, you hold the mantle, and for him to be omitted and Zeri, what's his? Cherry, sorry. Jump over the top of him. You know, you just take it. Cop in the chin. He's got his opportunity now. Will probably play for the next month.
And Larky been out. And Larky in the media during the week said he went back with a great attitude and had a great game. And that's all you want, especially from a leader and an elder statesman at the club. Go back and play and just be ready to come up when you are required, which should happen probably quicker than they expected, quicker than he expected. And I think that his mindset will be, I'm in now. I've got to now get knocked out of this position, hopefully. That's what he'll be thinking. He won't be thinking, I'm in until Cherry's ready. Cherry's right.
Yep.
Very good.
Very good.
And he'll just be able to slide back in, and then he's got to get knocked off that post again, I think.
Toss of the coin about to happen downstairs. It's a very special one, Dave Lindsay. Tell us about it.
It is, Clint. This is just the second time in the history of VFL AFL that 2 First Nations captains are representing their sides at the toss. Out there is Jet Sibasato from Fremantle Stephen Hill Next Gen Academy squad alongside Roger Hayden, as the 2 captains, Alex Pearce and Jai Simpkin, have come in to perform the toss of the coin. Jet Sibasato just checking with the umpire with the coin. He's about to toss it in the air, and Jai Simpkin, being the visiting skipper, has called incorrectly, and Alex Pearce, as so often happens here at Perth Stadium, points towards the city or river end to the right of your radio dial in the first quarter for Fremantle.
Okay, let's head downstairs and find out what it's like. Looks like a cracking day where we are up in the fourth floor on the northern wing. Bridget Lacey's downstairs for us again here on Grandstand AFL. Welcome to another season, Bridget.
Thank you, Clint. It's wonderful to be here. It's a gorgeous evening for football here in Perth. A little bit more muggy than we're used to, but about 28 degrees, not a breath of wind, a little bit of cloud cover and a little bit of sunlight still on the oval at the moment, but that'll fade. As you mentioned, a little bit patchy on the surface at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how that goes underfoot, particularly on this broadcast wing. And Alistair Clarkson looks like he's going to coach from the bench again today. He looks really pumped. The starting benches today for both teams for Fremantle, O'Meara, Henry, Amiss and Chapman, and the tactical sub is Michael Walters. And for North Melbourne, Stevenson, Greenwood, Powell and Goda with the sub Daniel Howe on debut for the club.
I'm with Fremantle today. Dave?
Yep, purple for me.
Shane?
Fremantle.
North for me.
Ooh. Fremantle fans will be delighted. Sharrod went the other way. Can North win 2 on the bounce to start 2023? Will the Dockers give the Purple Army something to shout about in their first game at home? Let's get it started on Grandstand AFL. Here's Dave Lindsay.
Change up for Freo in the middle as well, with Jackson taking the first ruck. Gets fingertips to it, but straight down to Zurhaar for North Melbourne. He's bumped off the footy. Davies Uniacke, so good last week. Fires the hand pass out to Cunnington. Off to Goldstein, an early touch with a hand pass back to Zurhaar. Gets North inside 50, going very wide out towards left half forward. And it bounces once before trickling over the boundary line in front of Comben. We'll see a throw in 48 metres out, down towards the Farmer Freeway end. North Melbourne attacking to the left of your radio in the first quarter. Goldstein back in the side. Played every game last year. Left out of the North Melbourne lineup for round one, but straight back into the action here today. Clark wins it at ground level for Fremantle. Off to Jackson. Tries to deliver a pass in the middle of the ground, but it's been intercepted. And North Melbourne have it through McDonald. Can load up on the left, punches it in low. It hits Brodie right between the eyes, who drops the mark he should have taken. Fremantle tacklers come in to hold it in on Curtis. And the umpire will ball it up directly in front of the North Melbourne goal in the sunshine, 48 from their home.
Ball thrown aloft. One down by Goldstein to Simpkins straight away. Got the arms free. Hand pass too hot for Cunnington. Davies Uniacke gathers for the Kangaroos. Kicks from the attacking edge of the centre square inside the right forward pocket. No mark taken. Big fly, but it spills down for Pearce. Stabs the pass forward. Precise and needed to be. Aish moves it forward again. Quickly through Sarong. Kicks towards centre wing. Coming out, Taberner takes the mark. Has it for Fremantle, just shy of the commentary wing. Looks to play on by hand to Wilson, running by. Sends it towards right half forward. Floating across in front was McDonald. Free kick going the way of North Melbourne. It'll come back, though, to be taken by Aidan Corr, the former Giant. He's got it at left half back. No score so far. 1:48 gone in the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
Corr, one of North's inclusions here today. Long down the line, Pearce wrapped up Larkey. Neither touched the footy. Pearce dragged it ground and loses it now. Scott hands it off to Larkey. Hemmed in against the boundary. Hooks a kick down the line. It was untidy, but it stays in. Trickles past the 50-metre arc. And then Simpkin watches it go over the line in front of Clark. Throw in about 40 metres out. Couple of minutes in.
Score check at the Docklands. 14 to go there in the first. St Kilda lead 3 straight 18 to the Bulldogs yet to score.
Collingwood and Richmond the winners in the earlier games today.
Those pies were good.
Red hot, weren't they?
Red hot.
Unbelievable first half in particular, and then finished it off in the last. Big tackle from Cunnington. Knocked over Aish. Followed up by another big tackle from Shields. We've seen him in the brown and gold stripes do that for many, many years, now in the blue and white. Good forward pressure from North Melbourne early in this one. Still no score, nearly 3 played.
Heaved aloft, Goldstein front position, got the fingertip onto it. Cunnington going through and he got pushed in the back in the tackle. Brodie giving away the free kick, and Ben Cunnington can go back and have a shot on goal from 45 out. It's better than a 45-degree angle to the left of centre.
Nice dynamic movement at that stoppage, which just probably drew that free kick a little bit because he was on the move and being active through the stoppage. It was nice movement from Cunnington. And the pressure, that forward 50 pressure already really, really showing.
His fight back from cancer was one of the stories of last season. Cunnington's kick is on its way. It misses to the right-hand side, but first score of the game going the way of the Kangaroos. One behind to Fremantle yet to score. 3:30 gone in the opening term. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
And that Fife delayed out for Fremantle. Jai Amos coming into the lineup as Ryan brings them back into play. Long kick in the Cox direction, couldn't quite hang on. Opposed to Scott, they bring it to ground, North Melbourne. Cunnington just pops the hand pass inside, intercepted by Brayshaw. Allowed himself to be slung in the tackle. Backfeed hand pass to Sarong, and the Dockers are away. For a set of hands, it gets to Wilson. Long kick towards the southern side wing. Frederick makes a good spoil and then slaps the ball back to support. Gets it to Hughes. Further backward by a hand to Young, who'll kick inside and get it to Clark on the half-back line for Fremantle. He'll go back to centre-half back. A bouncing kick gets to Ryan. Tries to shrug the tackle. Forced the hand pass it away to Brayshaw. Longer kick this time. It's good delivery and Schultz marks. 2 kicks from goal at right half forward. Long to the pocket. Darcy has best position. Has to stand and wait, and Zeeble makes a fine spoil. Brings it to ground. Saved a possible shot on goal there for Fremantle. Taken over the line by Bergman of North, and this time we'll get a throw in inside Fremantle's forward 50. Right half forward, 48 metres out from goal. Just the one behind on the board after 4.5 minutes. That's gone North's way.
Just a little bit of hang time there on Schultz's kick, wasn't it?
Yeah, just enabled that defender to come across.
Ball spun back in, 49 out from Freo's goal. Jackson got in front, palmed it down to Brodie. Kicks with the outside of the right boot, looking to curl it around towards goal. Juggled mark taken on the boundary line. Yes, Taverner has it. A one-on-one battle up against the former Docker Logue, and he was able to control it. He'll need to snap it around the body here. Taverner snaps. He kicks Freo's first.
I'm a little bit confused here, because if he's juggled that over the line, is it not a behind? And I think it may be getting looked at.
That's what I thought it looked like initially.
It was a great finish, so hopefully he gets awarded the goal, but he's juggled it backwards. Probably, we don't have a close-up review here, but
I did see the goal umpire sort of touch his hip, and that's where that little pack is that I think he presses the button to be able to speak to the other umpire. So I think you're right. I think he was asking for a review.
So they review it, the mark, after the goal has been kicked.
Well, yeah, which is what it should be, because it would be a behind, isn't it? Yeah.
So this is going to come back and be a behind. So they've let it play through because they've sort of paid the mark, haven't they? The mark was paid.
Yeah.
He snapped it. In the meantime, they've sent it upstairs to go, we're not sure about whether the mark had been paid. So instead, it's just going to be, well, it should be one behind on the scoreboard here, because Fremantle have juggled it across the line. And again, we wait to see what the umpire is going to do. And there's still more of a review.
He signalled the behind.
Now he signalled the behind.
Yeah,
that's on the screen. That did take a long time to get that all sorted out, but I think it was the right decision,
Correct.
yes.
Absolutely.
6:33 gone, one behind a piece between Fremantle and the Kangaroos. By the way, the Saints now lead by 17 points. The Bulldogs on the board at the Docklands. 3 straight, 18 to 1 behind. Saints leading there.
North have moved it back in quickly after that delay, and they've made it to the wing already. Comben has the footy. Short pass, diving back to his right is Zerha. Couldn't take the mark, but gathers the footy. Long kick towards full forward. Larkey watched it come over his right shoulder. And that quick movement of the football from North just caught the Freo defence lapping, and Larkey has the mark 20 metres out, deep in the right forward pocket, the boundary line just about 2 metres away on his right.
Yeah, just quick play there, caught the Fremantle defence out. Alex Pearce was in assertive position on his direct opponent Larkey then, but the carry from Zerha's kick was really good.
6 straight last week, Nick Larkey. Tough angle to deal with here. Distance not a problem. And nor is the angle. A great kick from Larkey. First goal on the board for North. 7.5 minutes gone in the first term. It's North Melbourne 1-1-7. Fremantle 1 behind here on Grandstand AFL. Jared Wellingham and Shane Woden, your experts.
Well, that's a kick into goal. That's not what Long Hill would be wanting, but it was a similar transition that we saw from Fremantle going the other way, but they were able to execute that inside 50 kick. The pace that the ball moved from North Melbourne all the way around that wing just enabled Pearce, who was trying to be in front of Larkey, enabled Larkey to get that space, which is what the Fremantle forwards were looking for.
Mark play on percentage this year will just increase dramatically, just to keep the ball in motion, just so you can get your one-on-one looks inside forward 50.
It enables the forwards to hold length as well. They don't have to work as hard getting up to help defend.
Our experts Sharad Willingham and Shane Woden on Grandstand AFL as Darcy wins it down in the middle, immediately taken by North. Locked in here was Greenwood underneath all of that. Heave it up again. Goldstein wins it down. Darcy's able to gather. Hand pass to no one in particular. Davies-Uniacke gathers for the Roos. Kicks up into the air from the centre circle. Towards centre half forward. No mark taken. Ryan was underneath it. Troubled by the sun. It came down to Cox. Hand pass to Hughes of the Dockers. Back to Brennan Cox again. Back to Ryan, who's on his own in the left back pocket for a moment. Gets out of trouble. Sends it down the southern wing. Taberner tries to crash into the pack. Picked up by Frederick. Hand passes into the ground, hoping that Taberner could run onto it. Davies-Uniacke was right there, seeing it across the line, despite Frederick trying to get to it. He was unable to do so. So on the southern wing, we'll have a throw-in. North Melbourne a 1-1-7. The Dockers one behind, 9 gone in the first on Grandstand AFL.
Michael Walters starting as sub for Fremantle. And Daniel Howe, the ex-Hawk, coming across with Alistair Clarkson, starting as a sub here for the Roos. Great tackle from Brayshaw. It's the free kick holding the ball. Right on the sponsor's logo, southern side wing. Will kick into the shadows at half forward. Sneaking away to take the mark is Schultz. He's got a bit of space to operate. Kicks into the pocket and Frederick sliding in. Takes the mark just above the turf. 35 metres out, tight angle left of centre.
I don't mind that from Luke Davies-Uniacke. The ability to drive your legs from contest, not just hack it forward. He was
trying to find an option.
Yeah. But great pressure by Brayshaw. His contest work and his ability to chase and harass as a mid is very good.
Frederick trying to go around the corner from about 40 metres out. It's always going to be a tough kick and he's hooked it too far. So first 2 scores for Fremantle today behinds. Fremantle 2 behinds, North Melbourne 1-1-7. Just tick past the 10-minute mark of the first term here at Perth Stadium.
Kangaroos go short up the corridor, just short enough, just long enough rather. Taken by Core between fullback and centre half back. Now kicks to Sheasel. What a debut he made, the number 1 draft pick last week against West Coast. Stands hard up against the boundary in the left back pocket. He'll caress the ball back to Core, standing in front of the behind post. Kicks into the right back pocket, stretching Scott. Marks the fluorescent yellow boots, hard against the boundary. Not a great kick to Core, couldn't gather. Chance to clean up though. McDonald steps inside his opponent from right half back, sends it down the southern wing. Favouring Brayshaw, couldn't mark, spilled out again. Here's a chance for the Roos. Stevenson works it on. Great tackle, Brayshaw. Wrapped up Powell. Ball spills free. Came to Brodie. Moved it on through the middle. Bailey Banfield towards right half forward. Now it's with Ryan. He'll kick into the right forward pocket. No mark taken. Spills down. Gathered, snapping and goal. Amos.
No, it's a free kick.
No, it's not going to be a goal. In the marking contest, he gives away a free kick. There's an infringement there, chopping of the arms against the Dockers.
And a 50.
Perhaps something a little bit said afterwards.
I think it was the play on to snap the goal.
From Amos playing on after the free kick was given. Nevertheless, great tackle by Brayshaw earlier on to settle that up. Comes back towards left half back. The Kangaroos have it now through Goda.
The fluorescent yellow boots on. Made his debut in the final round last year. That's an ordinary kick straight to the wing position where Young is standing. Gets a bit of treatment from Cunnington. Crowd want another 50 going their way. Not on this occasion. Superb kick on the 45 degrees to Frederick. Lays off the hand pass to O'Meara. Long shot on goal. Well out to the right. Jager O'Meara's first game at his new home ground in purple. 3 behinds for Fremantle. 1-1-7 North Melbourne. 12 played first quarter.
That's the kick from Young we want to see. Inside the corridor. That's brave. Create the overlap. Get good looks inside forward 50.
Zeba with the kick in, short to Core again. Still between fullback and centre half back. He'll go up the corridor, hits Davies-Uniacke on the chest. Still inside his defensive 50. Banfield stands the mark. Davies-Uniacke looks to go out towards left half back. Goda's there, leaps up into the air and takes the mark. Henry stands the mark in front of him. Back to Zeeble. North have to be precise here. That's going to be precise enough. Banfield gives away a free kick, chopping the arms of Davies-Uniacke, and then 50 again, with Freo not returning the football. Davies-Uniacke runs ahead of the centre circles and he puts it deep inside their attacking 50. Great defensive mark to the captain for Fremantle, Pearce. Hands up high in a pack of about 4, and he has it in the bright sunshine. North lead by 4, 13 gone in the first.
Pearce short to the pocket to Cox. Took 20 marks last week with Brennan Cox. First one today. 57 marks between Cox, Young, Ryan and Clark last week. Didn't exactly work in the end for Fremantle though. A long kick towards the wing, some hanging on. North Melbourne will get the free kick. Aidan Corr had his jumper grabbed and stretched across his body. Stabs a kick in towards centre half forward. Making the contest there, Turner. Brings it to ground. Little hand pass sneaks through towards Cunnington. Lays it off to Simpkin. Hurried kick. It's ugly off the boot. Bounces deep into the goal square. Pearce first back for Fremantle. Tries to clear. There's nothing on. It's all North Melbourne. Half forward Gota pops the kick inside. And the mark is taken by Tom Powell. The crowd argues it wasn't 15 and they might well have a point to make there.
It's about 8.
Yeah. So Tom Powell, 24 possessions against the Eagles last week, kicked it behind to stretch this North Melbourne lead out to double figures midway through the first quarter.
Defended the ground really well there, the Kangaroos. Really turned that footy over in their front half.
Kicking from some of the relayed turf from right on the 50. Looks pretty good off the boot. He's absolutely nailed it. Put it into the crowd, in fact. Wonderful kick from Powell. North Melbourne have the first 2 goals in the game, 2-1-13. They play Fremantle's 3 behinds, nearly 15 minutes gone in the first quarter here on Grandstand AFL.
Just seeing a different mindset with the ball movement at the moment, aren't we? North Melbourne are just
they want
to bite off a little bit more dare. And they're willing to just keep the ball moving at any cost, aren't they? Similar to what we saw from the Pies today. Just keep the ball moving forward, Richmond style.
It doesn't get your defence time to set up, does it, behind the ball? Particularly in Freo's forward line, you could really see they're trying to control the corridor with density in their numbers, not allowing North to be able to come back through the middle, but certainly they're getting their looks in their front half, the Kangaroos at present. But as I said, just defending the ground really well, be able to turn their footy at centre forward there and create the opportunity going back the other way.
St Kilda's lead now 24 points, 22 gone in the first at the Docklands. From the restart here, the Dockers will get the clearance. Brodie to Sarong, not a great kick forward. Knocked down by the Kangaroos. Shields will have it. Got it the second time and then gave it to McDonald. Kicks the Roos towards left half forward. Pearce underneath it. Couldn't get a fist on it. Spilled down though to Chapman. Clever hand pass forward. It comes through Aish. Now to Young. To O'Meara. Kicks deep into the right forward pocket. Out after it. Amos can't quite get there. Logue, the former Docker. That's the reason for the boos around the ground. Happy to see it over the boundary line for a throw-in. It's about 35 out from Freo's attacking goal. They're heading to the right of our broadcast position, the city end of Perth Stadium. The Kangaroos, though, they lead by 10 points, 16 gone in the first.
Wick Jackson to do the ruck work at this boundary throw-in. Opposed to Greenwood. Good match-up for Jackson. Didn't really get a decisive tap on it. Frederick comes through. Hand pass to Switkowski, who's attacked quickly there. Loses the footy. Zeebel's kick smothered. Just outside the goal square here for Fremantle. North under a heap of pressure. Shields was calm. Hand pass put Cunnington right under the pump, though. He coughs it up to Jackson. Back to Banfield. Now about 40 metres out in the pocket. Through comes Powell, the goal kicker, tackled by 2 Dockers. And they wrap him up and force a ball up 45 metres out.
Some good forward 50 pressure there from Fremantle. Good intent.
Jackson will get another crack at this one. Uses the body and then swats it out wide, but Cunnington reading it best. In fact, leaves it for a teammate. Powell with the clearing kick. Gets it outside the danger zone. Young on the bounce, takes the footy. He's well tackled by Comben. Loses possession and North have got nothing ahead of the ball. Larkey does it cleverly. Just pops it into some space. Nice little tap back. Gets it to Simpkin. His little kick is a through ball for Stevenson. Open goal, 15 out, kicks the goal. Stevenson, a great finish, and the clever tap came from Kane Turner in that passage of play. And North have 3 on the board. They're 3-1-19. Fremantle 3 behinds. We played 17.5 minutes in the first quarter here at Perth Stadium.
Just selfless from Turner then, but just be able to hack the footy forward. I like the kick from Simpkin as well, just to be able to put it to space, allow his forwards to run onto it. But for Stevenson to get in behind on Wilson or Chapman, I think it was there, a great defence.
You've got to recognise that contest, if it goes the opposition's way, you've got to know exactly where you're manning, and I think that whoever was on Stevenson was expecting a win.
I've been surprised by Fremantle's gatekeeper as such, or spare, where he's positioned at their forward 50 stoppages. He's actually been in
a bit too close.
He's not actually gatekeeping, sitting behind to stop those out the back kicks.
Kangaroos are up and about. Bounce of the footy. Goldstein got it down to Zerha. Hand pass to Powell. Wheels around and with the left will send it back inside, attacking 50. Young got a fist on it for the Dockers. Spill down to Pearce. Kicks it out towards Hughes. Marks it left half back on the relayed turf. Goes down the line. Not a great kick. Switkowski had to gather at his bootlaces. Was able to just get away from Taylor. Hand passes to Hughes again. Moves it forward to Wilson. Hand pass intercepted by, again, Turner. He's been terrific. Gave it on to Zerha. Moved it to Common. Sends it inside the attacking 50. Larkey wanted it. Ryan won it down. Socket forward by Curtis. Up into the air. And Larkey, watch it drop onto his chest in the left forward pocket. Oh, luck's a fortune when you're the Kangaroos at the moment, but it was slick work to get it there in the first place. Larkey can go back and have a shot tighter than a 45-degree angle to the left of centre. He'll kick from 35 out.
Good pressure by Kangaroos. Ability to come forward to defend, particularly when they get caught in handball change. Fremantle
looking for his second. Larkey steadies, puts it through. It's all North Melbourne here in Perth. The Kangaroos 4-1-25. Freo are 3 behinds as we head to time on in the opening term on Grandstand AFL. Our experts with us, Shane Woden and Sharad Wellingham.
You hit the nail on the head there, Wally. It's the pressure around the ball that they're just bringing in and putting Fremantle under, isn't it? I really liked Davies Uniacke. You mentioned his ability to, when he gets his hands on the ball, he's just driving his legs, isn't he? He's creating that little bit of a breakaway from the contest. And I think is it Coleman as well who may have been doing it in there, or Cole?
Cunnington's been good in there too. Better driving.
They're just getting their hands. They're getting their hands in the contest and driving away from it. And Fremantle just aren't able to keep up with them at this stage.
What about the Curtis kick, the ground kick up in the air?
And he had time to be clean too.
Shallow bounce from the umpire, but allowed to play on. Goldstein winning the tap and the crumbs, and then feeds it out to Powell. Goes backwards towards Gota. Little left foot kick to the wing, and Stevenson on the lead wraps it up. One of 4 Rising Star winners out here this afternoon. 3 for Fremantle. Stevenson the only route, winning it at Collingwood, of course. Kicks inside on the 45 degrees. They don't mark it, but they play on quick. The hand pass from Curtis, though, not well directed. Brodie intercepting. Lays it off to Brayshaw on the wing. Back to Brodie. Right beneath our broadcast position. Chips a little pass to half forward, and Schultz marking on his chest. Thought about kicking towards centre half forward. Called to play on, runs straight into the tackler. And that'll be holding the ball. No. Just taken high. Very lucky, Schultz.
He slipped, I think, which helped him.
Gota just going across the shoulder.
Gota was also very lucky to not give away a 50. He moved before the play on call, so...
Schultz long towards full forward, now stretching his Taberner, couldn't quite reel it in. Switkowski tackled, gets a hand pass away looking for Amos. Too many blue and white jumpers around, they force it out of bounds. Right forward pocket, City end. Fremantle still searching for their first goal of the game. They're down by 22 points into time on in the first.
Need to get a wriggle on the Dockers. Lopsided scoreline, it remains still at the Docklands. Saints by 24 points there as well. Darcy won it down, trying to get into a sarong. Was he infringed? No. North looked to try to mop up. Zerha with it. Kicks into the right back pocket. Over the top of Bergman. Chases towards it. Gets there just before Frederick does and takes it over the line for a boundary throw-in. Right half back for North Melbourne.
I think they've defended their D50 pretty well, the Kangaroos. Had a few stoppages there. Pressure's been applied, but just been able to fight their way out of it.
Spun in again. Darcy against Goldstein, and Darcy takes him high. Goldstein will get the free kick.
Experienced campaigner Goldstein, isn't he? And a very good ruckman for a very long time.
Game 296 today. It's the footy back. Thought about going right back to fullback. Then looks down the line. So he'll go short. Not long enough to be a mark. Core has to play on quickly. Darcy knocked it down. It spilled out, though, to Powell for the Kangaroos. To Taylor. Sweeping it forward again. Now an opportunity for Turner to kick towards right half forward. This is Greenwood. Can't mark it. Got tackled holding the ball. Well done by Ryan. Wrapped him up beautifully. Wins the free kick for Fremantle and goes short to actually the only of the Rising Stars who won it at the club he's still playing for. Caleb Sarong has it.
He decides to chip it out to the best and fairest winner from last year for Fremantle and Brayshaw. Starting to work his way into the game. His 5th touch. Kicks inboard to Ryan. Fremantle managed just 7 goals last week. They haven't kicked a major so far this week. It's one of the questions about their prospects going forward if they were to climb into the top 4 and really challenge for a premiership. Could they find some new avenues to goal? There's no Nat 5 here today. Henry off half back now. Short pass, hits up Young. They like the ball in his hands. It's a very crowded forward 50 though. He's called to play on now, just decides to go long straight up the middle. The big men set themselves. In from the side comes the fist from Goldstein, and there's some hanging on. And the free kick will go North Melbourne's way. And Goldstein will be the recipient. He decides to hand pass to Sheasel, who just overkicks that one and turns it over. Searching for Gota. Carried a little too far. Aish marks, 50 out from goal. Slices the kick towards the top of the goal square. The 2 rucks fly. And a good tackle applied by Sheasel. And we'll see a ball up. Both Darcy and Jackson going at the same football there. Couldn't mark. Ball up just outside the goal square. North still by 22.
Thrown aloft. Goldstein palmed it down, got it to Scott. Gets a hurried kick away from his defensive goal square. Waiting underneath it, Bergman marks in the right back pocket. Has it for those in blue and white. Pauses for a moment. Still a bit to play in this quarter. Bergman on a short run. Thumps it towards the southern wing. Greenwood had his hands up, couldn't mark. Spills down again to Turner. Kicks around the body, down the southern wing. Well read by Young. Was under real pressure. Was able to mark the footy and moved it on quickly to Sarong. Up the middle he goes. Taberner dropped the mark he should have taken. Spilled off his shoulder. Down towards Logue. Looked to knock it forward. Kangaroos through Zerha. Back by hand to Kaur. Moves it on again. The classy Sheasel, the youngster, puts it inside forward 50. Stretching. Homban couldn't quite mark it. Stevenson can. Gave it again off the ground towards Simpkin. He'll snap towards goal. It'll tumble across the face. And miss to the right-hand side. No score, no change. It's still North 4-1-25. The Dockers 3 behinds. 25 and a bit gone in the first.
North moving the ball so quickly on turnover. Seems to be the modern way here in 2023. Every team winning a turnover go as fast as they can. Aish tries to clear here for North. It'll come straight back. Bergman between wing and half forward. Short little pass gets it outside. And North look to set something up here from about 80 metres out. Power with the footy. Calls for a lead. That comes from Curtis Taylor. Still too far out to score. All but about 8 players inside the North Melbourne attacking 50. So he's forced just to set it up to the pocket. Comben there, so too Larky. Pearce in between the two. Gets his fist to the footy and knocks it to the safety of the boundary. So another throw in, right forward pocket, Farmer Freeway end, in the little pocket of sunshine that we've got remaining here at Perth Stadium. North lead by 22.
Warm conditions. A sticky day. So it's thrown in again. Goldstein palms it down with the right. Curtis gathers. Got a hand pass out, but only as far as Pearce for the Dockers. To Sarong, to Brayshaw. Kicks beyond defensive 50, heading towards the northern wing. Amos goes towards it, can't gather. Beautifully timed by McDonald. Gathers and sends it quickly back inside forward 50. Courage by Brayshaw going back. Got a hand on it to stop a North mark. Looks sore for a moment. Free able to rebound. Aish to Chapman. Back to Aish from right half back. Kicks the Dockers towards right half forward. Logue flew. Won it down. Switkowski though gathers. Bursts away. Inside forward 50. Kicks the goal. On the bounce. Freo got there first. North with a turnover across half back. The Dockers finally are able to punish them on the scoreboard. They're 1-3-9 Fremantle. North Melbourne remain in control. 4-1-25, but North's lead has cut back to 16 points. 27 and a half gone in the opening term. Quarter time at the Docklands. The Saints by 24. 4-1-25 to the Bulldogs, one behind.
So they needed that is a bit of an understatement, I know, but yeah, amazing effort from Brayshaw in the defensive 50. That's what created it. He got in front of the North Melbourne leading forward. Blocking up that space just enabled them to rebound quickly off that contest.
And James Aish's kick too. Yes, it's to a contest, but it's corridor. And it brings your smalls into play, and that's where Switkowski was able to crumb and score.
Back in the middle, it's Goldstein and Jackson. Goldstein winning it down, but straight to O'Meara. Sends Fremantle inside 50 with a long kick. Logue attacked it with the boot, socketed it away. Straight to Banfield, though. His hand pass goes to North Melbourne. Although Logue can't handle it. Banfield comes through again. Little hand pass out. Hughes squeezes a kick away, but didn't get much on it. And it's missed well to the left, hitting the behind post. It's out of bounds on the full.
Downstairs, Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, just on Brayshaw, you mentioned he caught one to the back of the head. The doctor was straight out to him. He had a reasonably long chat, but he did stay out there for the next centre bounce.
So bring it back into play. North Melbourne long towards the half-back position. 3 bites at it from Jackson. Couldn't quite reel it in, though. And North win it away at ground level, though. A fine tackle applied by Ryan on Simpkin as he looked to escape. We'll see a ball up at the corner of the centre square. Left half forward for Fremantle.
That's exactly what they need to do. They come forward to defend like that, and when they recognise the handball game being brought in, just come forward at it.
Goldstein won it down. It's Fremantle who get possession. O'Meara to Sarong, to Wilson through the middle. Clark, hand pass over the top. Aish kicks towards full forward. Leading out, Darcy couldn't mark it. Got hands to the footy. Greenwood gathers. Darcy tackles him to ground. 35 out from his attacking goal. The big Docker is going to be a ball up.
Missed opportunity by Curtis then on Sarong. Better make that tackle. Got through him pretty easily.
Thrown up again. Socket forward by Darcy. Off the ground with a big left boot. Trying to get to it. Amos can't. Paul got there first. Tackled by Amos. Ball's going to be held in. No, it does come out the back. Fremantle with another opportunity. Henry looked to knock it down. Zeeble over the top for North. Slapped it out the side. Sheasel gathers. Does it stay in? Not quite. Out of bounds on the fall. In fact, they're going to call insufficient intent. Take your pick. It'll be Clark to have it from right half forward. Puts it back towards full forward. They come from everywhere. Jackson got up. Couldn't get a hand on it. Down towards Taylor. He got spun in a tackle. And he's been pinged for holding the ball. A little bit of afters here as well. Switkowski and Frederick have got a bit to say from all of that. So the free kick against Taylor. Frederick, the player, rewarded for the tackle. And so Michael Frederick will go back and have a chance to kick Fremantle's second back-to-back goals for them as we've gone past the half an hour mark in the opening quarter. Frederick, he'll put boot to ball from no more than 25 out. A slight angle to the right. Freo got their second. 2-3-15 the Dockers. They close in on North Melbourne as we close in on quarter time. The Kangaroos 4-1-25. It's now a 10-point margin at the 31-minute mark of the first term.
So they took control of momentum, haven't they, Fremantle, the last 6 or 8 minutes? Just steadied the ship a bit.
Wrestled it right back, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Yes, kicked the last 2 goals. Bring good heat in their side, their forward 50. Just put it to more attacking areas too, which has certainly helped them.
And they've been able to create more of a contest at those inside 50 kicks. Early on, they were just coming to ground a bit easier and getting swooped on by the North Melbourne defenders.
There's just enough time remaining in the quarter for either team if they can be clean from this centre bounce. It's a very low centre bounce. Goldstein wins it down towards Greenwood. Hacks a kick forward, doesn't make any ground, and it's marked by Hughes. Just about to tick to the siren at the moment. The kick into space for O'Meara on the outer wing. He'll go backwards by hand to Young. And Fremantle with the last 2 goals of the quarter, getting themselves back into the contest after North kicked the first 4 inside 20 minutes here at Perth Stadium. Quarter time, it's North Melbourne 4-1-25, leading Fremantle 2-3-15.
So the goal kickers for North Melbourne, Nick Larkey's got a couple. Continuing on from the 6 he got last week. 2 to Nick Larkey. North Melbourne's other goal kickers, Stevenson and Powell. While for Fremantle, their 2 goals to Sam Switkowski and to Michael Frederick. 4-1-25 North, 2-3-15 the Dockers. As Dave told you, it is a 15-point advantage in favour of the visiting side. The other game currently underway, early stages of the second term at the Docklands. 4 minutes gone there. And it's St Kilda 4-2-26, leading the Bulldogs, who have still kicked just the 1 behind. So the Saints by 25 points. Repeating here at Perth Stadium on Grandstand AFL, it's North Melbourne by 10 points.
Simone Young is one of the most talented conductors of her generation.
When I started, I faced considerable opposition.
Executive producer Kate Blanchett takes us into the world of one of our greatest conductors.
In 1991, there were no women conductors.
What does being a woman have to do with conducting?
She's not afraid to just be a boss.
Simone Young.
She was born to be a conductor.
Knowing the Score.
It is magic.
Streaming now on ABC iView. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Compton has the footy. Short pass, diving back to his right is Zerha. Couldn't take the mark, but gathers the footy. Long kick towards full forward. Larkey watched it come over his right shoulder. And that quick movement of the football from North just caught the Freo defence lapping, and Larkey has the mark. 6 straight last week, Nick Larkey. Tough angle to deal with here. Distance not a problem. And nor is the angle. A great kick from Larkey. First goal on the board for North.
Zerha moved it to Coleman, sends it inside the attacking 50. Larkey wanted it. Ryan won it down, socket forward by Curtis, up into the air, and Larkey watch it drop onto his chest in the left forward pocket. Oh, luck's a fortune when you're the Kangaroos at the moment. Looking for his second. Larkey steadies, puts it through. It's all North Melbourne here in Perth. Freo look to rebound. Aish to Chapman, back to Aish from right half back. Kicks the Dockers towards right half forward. Low flew, won it down. Switkowski though gathers, bursts away, inside forward 50, kicks the goal, on the bounce. Freo have got there first. North with a turnover across half back. The Dockers finally are able to punish them on the scoreboard. Jackson got up, couldn't get a hand on it, down towards Taylor. He got spun in a tackle, and he's been pinged for holding the ball. A little bit of afters here as well. Switkowski and Frederick have got a bit to say from all of that. Frederick, he'll put boot to ball from no more than 25 out. A slight angle to the right. Freo have got their second.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Earlier today in round 2, a big win for Collingwood over Port by 71 points. Richmond by 32 over Adelaide. Right now, 7 minutes gone in the game at the Docklands, and it's the Saints who lead by 25 over the Bulldogs. 4-2-26 to 1 behind. Here at Perth Stadium, it's the Kangaroos 4-1-25 to the Dockers 2-3-15. And for our listeners, particularly here in WA, the Sheffield Shield going on as we speak. Victoria are now 6 for 100 in their second innings. They trail WA's first innings of 315 by 20 runs with 4 wickets remaining. Great stuff for WA so far as they look to make it, what are we calling it, a 6P? That's what we'll claim it as, a 6P to...
Call it whatever you like.
Call it whatever you like.
It never happened before.
A double hat-trick of titles. It might never happen again if they can continue on their merry way. Those that have taken the wickets, Joel Paris has 3 for 32, Matt Kelly 2 for 17, Lance Morris 1 for 33. Let's turn our attention back to the footy. The Kangaroos in front by 10. Shane Woden, Sharrod Willingham, talk us through it.
About taking their opportunities when they went inside their forward 50, wasn't it? Both teams, you mentioned that Fremantle obviously wrestled back that momentum and put the brakes on North Melbourne, but early on it was all North Melbourne. Every time they went inside their forward 50, they were able to capitalise and make the most of those entries. And then we saw Fremantle, when they did halt the momentum, were able to do the same thing for themselves. And when they went inside 50, went to more dangerous spots, created better contests and let the smalls go to work. Frederick's goal was from forward 50 pressure, which is really, really rewarding, I suppose, and that's what the coaches like to see. Obviously, they'd like to see a lead out chest mark kick a goal, but when the small forwards get in there and get dirty and do the hard stuff, it really gets the coaches up and about, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And I thought Kangaroos were a little bit cleaner fundamentally around the ball, particularly in that first half of the quarter, and again, just more effective when they went forward, able to score a bit more efficiently. And but as soon as Freo started to move it a little bit faster and get out the back a little bit quicker, they just created more one-on-ones. You know, when they're bombing inside 50, found it very hard to score. Fremantle too, but arrested some momentum in that last 10 minutes and got the game back on their terms a little bit.
I think they were unlucky a few times as well, just in contests where they didn't get the right decision or dropped marks in really dangerous spots.
Yeah.
If they come off, they're probably ahead by 1 or 2 goals. But that's not the case. You can't rest on those, but we'll see what happens.
Nothing in it on the stat sheet. North Melbourne 101 disposals, Fremantle 98. The marks are 23-22 in Fremantle's favour. Hit-outs favouring North Melbourne 12-9. Some leading possession winners, Aish and Sarong for Fremantle with 8 possessions. Core has had 8 for North, Davies, Uniacke and Powell 7 each.
It's the voice of Dave Lindsay, Clint Wilden with you in commentary on Grandstand AFL. Second quarter underway. Darcy wins the restart, punches towards the southern wing. Picked up by Davies Uniacke, broke one tackle, got a hand pass out to Cunnington. To Shields, who moves it forward. They kick inside the forward 50, the Kangaroos. No mark taken. Clark was there with the crumbs. To Cox, ugly looking kick. Wanted Hughes, was good enough to tap it down. Wilson gathers, tackled by Scott. Looked like he dropped the football. Umpire says play on. Zerha was there for North. Gathers and puts it inside forward 50. Here's a chance for the Kangaroos to go back and have a long-range shot from Taylor, marking about 45 out from goal. He'll start in line with the right hand behind post.
It's a great contest by Young then, wasn't it?
Really, really strong.
Put himself in a really dangerous position. He's come off second best for sure.
Hayden Young remains down. We'll get an update on him in just a moment. Here's Taylor. From 48 metres out, looked pretty good. We're right behind the kick. It sails through for a major. The Kangaroos with the first of the second quarter, and it took them just more than 60 seconds to register it. They've got their fifth. 5-1-31 to the Dockers 2-3-15. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
Yeah, Hayden Young stayed down on his haunches for a very long time. He's now jogging to the bench with the physio and the doctor, and they'll have a look at him.
Some very sore ribs, I would say.
Oh,
he had his arms up above his head to reach for the contest, and right underneath the rib cage, the impact's come through.
Yeah, great attack by both players. Ben Comden too. He came at it. Has the bullet pass from Zerha.
Yeah.
2 metres off the ground.
Fremantle, having won the last 4 matches against North Melbourne by an average margin of 69 points. They've got a lot of work to do if they're going to get a win here, let alone a win of any sort of margin. Cunnington with a free kick in the middle gets North Melbourne ahead of centre again. Little 20-metre chip pass to Davies Uniacke. Possession number 9 for him. Gets them deep inside 50. All players fly. No one stays down. It gets to the back. Chapman close to the line. Happy to be shoved over with football in his hands by Stevenson. And a rushed behind going North's way. 5-2 plays 2-3. 2.5 gone second quarter.
Fremantle into the left back pocket through Cox. Kicks towards the commentary wing. Ziegler might have infringed Amos. Certainly the Freo fans thought they did. We'll get it back though. Hand pass was from Core. He stole, put up into the air. And Schultz was he taken high, wrapped up by Ziegler, who emerges with the football. Umpire says it's okay. We'll ball it up instead. The locals less than impressed. What Schultz might have been taken high, maybe the right arm around the head from Ziegler. Certainly they've seen it on the replay now. The restart, Darcy won it down, comes out the side to Zerha, and he kicks out of bounds on the full. In fact, it's gone a good 4 or 5 rows back. So Fremantle will be able to take it. That left half back through Chapman. In fact, they can put the ball forward slightly if they want here. Umpires are saying they can bring it all the way up to where Nathan Wilson is standing around about the interchange. Chapman throws it to Wilson. Glances inboard, back at Chapman, still with the left shoulder heavily strapped. Wilson puts it towards the left forward pocket. 2-on-2 battle, off hands at the front through Logue. Kept in by Schultz. Hand pass to Brayshaw, immediately ran into trouble. Got a hand pass back to Schultz, juggled it twice. Logue might have got him around the ankles. Spills out towards Goldstein, ducked the head, got a hand pass away. Clearing kick here from the Kangaroos beyond defensive 50 from Davies Uniacke as off hands. And over for a boundary, throwing left half forward for Freo. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
Yeah, Hayden Young had a quick chat to the Docs when he sat down on the bench, but he looks to be okay now, and I expect him back on soon.
Goldstein responding today, back into the side, 6 possessions, leading the hit-outs here, beating both Darcy and Jackson so far this afternoon. Wins the tap here, but a free kick going Fremantle's way to Hughes. Some interference, in fact it'll be relayed about 5 metres down the ground to Brayshaw. Must have happened after he disposed of the football. Now Brayshaw, about 80 metres out, left half forward. All the options inside 50 are covered, so he might just kick as far as he can. Jackson has a good run at this one. Goes through his fingertips. Taken to ground, Sarong. Umpire says play on. North Melbourne win the football away. Chain of hand passes comes to Scott. Pumps a long kick up the wing. Larkey one-on-one with Cox. Neither can mark. Larkey's recovery outstanding. Sliding in to win the football. Hand passes away to Zurhar. Another hand pass to Powell. Goes back to Zurhar. He'll give it back to Powell. They must have each other in their fantasy footy teams. Little chip inside. Gets it towards Cunnington. At half forward. Guides the pass to the pocket. Wilson in a great position to make the spoil on Stevenson. North won't be too upset to have a boundary throw in anyway. 45 metres out, right forward pocket. It's a 17-point lead to the visitors.
Just took a little bit too long to get it in there with those handballs, didn't they? Just enabled the Fremantle defenders to set up nicely. And I know Larkey was in the contest up the ground, so they might not have had any options.
Put back into play. Jackson at the back, wanted down, but straight to Curtis. Broke one tackle. Couldn't get past Jackson, who got him. Ball spilled out. O'Meara gave it to Aish, and then Aish had it stolen away by Sheasel. Kicks towards full forward. Comden brought it to the ground, but couldn't mark. Out in the direction of Clark for the Dockers. Couldn't gather it cleanly. He's under pressure. Scoops it up. Just got a hand pass away. Out towards Ryan. Was tackled then by Taylor. Hand pass over the boundary line. He's been done for insufficient intent.
Good decision.
Absolutely there. Had no other plan apart from trying to get rid of it. So it'll come back here for a chance for Taylor. Can have a shot at goal if he wants. He'll start from beyond the boundary line.
Bit of off the ball there. Sarong gave a body check on Larkey, and then one of the North teammates didn't like that, and he's knocked Sarong over, and Sarong will get a free kick.
Smart by Sarong. Just getting under their skin.
It was on Simpkin.
Yeah. Captain trying to stick up for his teammate and gives away a free kick.
So Sarong and Fremantle will be delighted with that. It should have been a shot on their defensive goal. Instead, they can move it towards right half back to Aish, who goes short to Brayshaw. 5-2-32 the Kangaroos, 2-3-15 the Dockers, 6 gone in the second.
Thought about retreating. That option became covered pretty quickly, so he's forced to kick long down the boundary line looking for Frederick. Zeeble in from the side making the spoil, receives a hand pass back from Core. And then Zeeble's hand pass was deflected over the line. Fremantle fans on the southern side wanted their deliberate or insufficient intent free kick. Doesn't quite work that way.
As you can see, Fremantle trying to attack and come back through the corridor. Defended well by the Kangaroos at present.
Throw in centre wing. Goldstein wins the tap opposed to Jackson again. Aish dispossessed. In fact, he didn't have the football according to the umpire, so it'll be a free kick for holding. Kicks inside the centre square towards Wilson, right on the centre line. Decides to lay off the hand pass to Clark, who is running from behind. Long to Taberner, getting across in front McDonald. Can't mark, Schultz roving, kick smothered. Here's Henry 40 out, hands it off to Taberner. Slow hand pass back to Henry. Dashes away, but shoved by Sheasel as he went to take his kick. And North win the football away. Cunnington starts the chain of hand passes. It ends with Davies Uniacke, who'll kick long down the line. Cox getting back, can't quite get there. He'll track it towards the boundary and professionally allows himself to be taken over by Comben. And a throw in at right half forward now for North. 5-2 plays 2-3. It's the Kangaroos by 17 points here at Perth Stadium. We've played 8 minutes in the second term.
Davies Uniacke now leads all comers in terms of disposals. He's got 12. It's thrown in again. Jackson front position, palms it down, straight to Brayshaw. Got it away to Jackson. Then wanting turn to Schultz, all met solidly. He was tackled by Sheasel and then coming the other way, Shields got him. It's been held in, ball up. Commentary edge of the centre square. Jackson and Goldstein both had a touch. Brodie looks to bustle his way through. Got a hand pass to Jackson for the Dockers to O'Meara. Under pressure, got the kick away and found Frederick. Good mark too. Right with him, Bergman. Had a mark high above his right shoulder. Puts it forward towards Brayshaw. He marks contested as well. Turner was right with him.
He was at the contest. Great work rate.
Run a long way, Brayshaw. Into the right forward pocket. Darcy out. Taberner with him. Neither could mark. Zeeble at the drop. Hurry kick away. Taberner picks it up. Goes back to Brodie. Then to Frederick. Shields tackles him. Great desperate stuff. Free kick going the way of North. Shields, so much experience. The 3-time premiership Hawk, now in blue and white. He'll take his free kick and move it towards fullback.
Actually retired at the end of the season, and Alastair Clarkson came knocking. And I reckon when he comes knocking, you at least open the door and have a chat. Shields did exactly that. Here's Griffin Lowe getting the boos of the crowd. Still deep inside defensive 50. Core receives the kick from Logue, and then off to Zeeble with a little short pass of his own. Jack Zeeble delivers to Shields. 255 games for the Hawks. Second game here for the Roos. Goes back again to Zeeble inside defensive 50. North just happy to hold possession for a period of time.
Yeah, a little bit of a different look here with them chipping it around and trying to maintain possession.
Zeeble measures the pass down the boundary line and hits the target again. They're able to run this time. Sheasel with the kick on the 45 degree. Into the centre square now for Curtis, who can go onto his left. Nearly runs himself into trouble. Just pulls the kick slightly. Gets it to Turner. Back to Curtis. They break across the centre line. Ugly looking bouncing kick, but it works out well to Simpkin. He's 45 out. Centering ball. Comben backing back. Timely spoil from the Fremantle defence. Came from Chapman. Ball hits the deck and Pearce has it. He'll lay off the hand pass and get it to Ryan. Almost his defensive goal square. Has to kick long for distance. Frederick in good position. Can't quite take the mark over the top. Ace swoops onto the loose footy. Hands it away to Brayshaw. Through the centre square they come. O'Meara through the centre circle. Over the top with a hand pass to Henry. He's got Taberner all by himself. And he takes the mark on his chest. Actually had 3 Fremantle players to choose from in about a 5 square metre patch of grass at the Farmer Freeway end. And now Taberner will have a shot from about 45 out. Slight angle right of centre.
Yeah, well used by Fremantle out of their back half. Just probably anticipated turnover fraction too late, the defenders from the Kangaroos. It was more uncontested all the way down. And good decision by Henry in that last kick going inside 50. Didn't panic. Waited for Taberner to tick lead and come back at him and just put it into space.
Now he's taken his full time. Didn't realise the 30 seconds had run out. North players come in to effect the kick and it falls short. And only North Melbourne players were sitting back on the last line of defence. And the mark has been taken by Bergman deep in defence. So a bemusing start for Taberner. He kicked a goal earlier in the game that was taken off him on review when they had a look at his mark. And now he wasted his 30 seconds and couldn't kick the goal.
North Melbourne were on it. The Dockers were not. It's the Kangaroos to McDonald and back to Zeeble, who marks again at full-back. Spears it short. Chance to build again through Bergman. Plays on by hand. This is to Goda. Now to McDonald once more. Kicks towards the southern wing. Cunnington up against Ryan. Cunnington got a touch on it. Ryan tried to go back by hand. Cunnington crashing in to Young there, who's back on the ground. The Dockers have it again through Chapman to Young. Tackled by Cunnington. Spun into the ground. Ball's going to be locked in here. Umpire says holding the ball. What a warrior Ben Cunnington is.
Such an important player to him. Just what he does around the contest. Clean.
Plays on by hand to go to running by. Not a great hand pass out to Sheasel, but he's calm enough to gather. Kick short, wanting Shields. He couldn't get there. Powell could for North. Good bump coming in from the side from O'Meara allows Aish to pick it up. To Ryan, to O'Meara, back to Ryan. Kicks down the outer side. That's a lovely kick. Great vision to find Taberner, who can mark on true centre wing, southern side of the ground. He'll play on to Switkowski, who was crashed into by Cunnington, who remains down. Switkowski bobs up, and he finds Frederick. Leading out and marking right where the 50-metre arc meets the boundary. Frederick pops it inside forward 50 for Henry. Liam Henry. Hard up against the boundary, 45 from goal.
Sorry, Clint. Just noticed a couple of times the ball not bouncing up all that well to players. Players are fumbling at ground level just a fraction.
The 21-year-old. His 29th AFL game. Boots cross the boundary line. It's a tight angle. He's put it across the face. Missing to the left-hand side. A minor score. 2-4-16 the Dockers. North 5-2-32. 13 gone in the second term. Update for you from the Docklands. 23 gone in the second. The Saints still lead by 25 points. That score's barely changed. 4-2 to 1 behind.
Just 1 behind either way in this quarter as well. 14 minutes played.
Yeah, short kicks out of their back half, the Kangaroos, this quarter, haven't they? Going to build the ball up.
And I think they're waiting till they can get that right kick inside, and then they're willing to go with a bit of pace. But
trying to make the ground big.
4 or 5 kick mark plays. Gets it to Davies Uniacke at half-back, who swings it to the wing beneath our broadcast position for Jaden Stevenson. 54 games in the black and white stripes. Second season now in the blue and white. Little short passes, poorly directed. Favoured Sarong, who dived in low. In the end, couldn't hang on to the mark. Sheasel did well to win it for North. Hand pass to Stevenson now. Breaking inside 50 with a long kick. Swooping on the loose footy. Attacking the goal face is Turner. His kick goes across the face. That's a shove in the back. I think the umpire spotted it. He did. Push in the back. Fremantle free kick going the way of James Aish. Last line of defence. 2-4-16. Fremantle. They're half of the Kangaroos score. 5-2-32.
Aish on a short run into the right back pocket. Sends it beyond defensive 50. Stretching Frederick. Back of a pack of 4. Couldn't get there. Spilled down to Bergman, who's a little bit further back again. To Goda for the Kangaroos. Misses his target. To try and find Taylor. It was at left half forward. It skids across the boundary line for a throw-in. Clint Wilden with you alongside Dave Lindsay in commentary. Experts Shane Woden and Sharad Willingham. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary here on Grandstand AFL. Thanks to ABC Sport as it's thrown in once more. Jackson at the back. We had the more telling tap. It came down to Taylor. Cunnington. Hurry kick forward for the Kangaroos. And after it, though, is Ryan. And got tackled by Turner. Just got a hand pass away. And then taking the ball professionally over the boundary line was Alex Pearce for a throw-in. 5-2-32. That's North. The Dockers 2-4-16. 16 gone in the second.
Aish and Davies Uniacke leading the way on the possession sheet. 14 apiece. Throw in one by Jackson to the front of the pack. Powell couldn't get much of a hand pass away there. Curtis with the loose footy. And he's well tackled. We're still waiting for our first goal of the second term. Ground in shadow now, right across Perth Stadium. As the late afternoon sunshine disappears behind the grandstands. Cox with the loose footy. Couldn't take it with him. Powell goes to ground. Tough footy to be won about 30 out from the North goal. Banfield's hand pass. A hand in there by Stevenson. Goes on to win the footy from 45 out. Sends it high to the top of the goal square. Comben in from the side. Can't take it. Curtis recovers well up against the boundary. Shoves off Hughes. Bounces away from Cox. And then chips it back to Stevenson. Should have held the mark. Couldn't quite reel it in at the last minute. Fremantle could win it away. Free kick has been paid. Coming back to Fremantle. Chapman dealt with without the football. In fact, it's O'Meara, and O'Meara will swing his kick across the face of goal and find Ryan in the orange boots.
Ryan moves it to Aish, and he marks beyond defensive 50, waits for Davies Uniacke to come to him, pop the hand pass to Chapman. Chapman defensive point of the centre square, out to Henry. He marks on the southern wing. Quicker movement this from Fremantle, but then Switkowski pauses again.
Dropped an absolute pudding, Stevenson, didn't he?
What about the effort from Curtis? Too big, don't argues, and then Stevenson needed to take the mark, surely. Kicked him towards Taberner, who's at right half forward. Good spoil came from Logue. Got the arm around the body to knock it over the line for a throw-in. Fremantle moved it really quickly and then just stopped again. I'm bewildered as to why.
Void of options.
Yeah, Switkowski had to come back in this way. Even if it's only a 15-metre kick, just keep opening up the ground for yourselves.
Greenwood and Jackson in the ruck at this boundary throw-in. Davies Uniacke attacks the footy. Ball spills out as he's tackled. It's called play on, and Cunnington's able to kick it long to the wing. Everyone falls over. Ball spills out the back. Zerha knocks it to his own advantage. Leads in the race now to soccer it inside 50. Kick favours Cox along the ground. He wins the football for Fremantle. Lays off a hand pass to Chapman. A longer hand pass this time to Wilson. Just cruises with the football at right half back, and now long in the direction of Jackson, who's got the sit. And he juggles and claims it. Not paid, according to the umpire. Thought he might have taken the last grab just above the turf. He recovers well enough to get it to Brodie. He kicks to the leading Banfield. Marks on his chest. A metre beyond the 50-metre arc. Moves it on quickly. That was smart. And Switkowski, who kicked Fremantle's first goal, thought about passing it off, but he can go back and settle and have a shot from 50.
Just that last attempt at it, Jackson just wasn't clean enough. So, right decision. Was able to free his hands and get the handball away. Just about to keep the ball in motion.
1 goal 2 for Sam Switkowski last week. He's got one already this afternoon from right on the 50-metre mark. Kicking to the Farmer Freeway end. He's pushed it well right, and that will only just sneak in for a behind. It's 2-5-17 Fremantle. North Melbourne are 5-2-32. We're 45 seconds away from time on, and we haven't had a goal in quarter number 2.
Second football on the ground. They'll have to deal with that as North take it beyond a defensive 50. Comes to Taylor, back to Zeeble, the former captain, in the left back pocket. He's beyond defensive 50 again. This is McDonald marking about a metre from the boundary. Almost all the ground in shade now. It's a lovely pass from McDonald. Simpkin got knocked to the back of the head after Davies-Uniacke marked it. He plays on to Simpkin, who's okay. Kicks towards the left forward pocket. There's no mark taken. Free kick's going away, though, in that contest to Pearce. Up against Comben. Pearce will have it for the Dockers in the right back pocket. He'll move it short to Sarong. He'll trot back again. This is interesting from Fremantle. Sharon's right again. There's no option, but they do just stop. So he's forced to kick to a contest on centre wing. Going up was Goldstein. Couldn't mark it, brought it to ground. He's over the top of it, emerging with it Jackson. Hand pass back to Brody. Punch forward cleverly by Brayshaw. On in turn to Aish. Got dealt with after he got a kick away. Downfield free kick. Right decision as well. He was cleaned up then. Have a look. As the ball goes quickly inside forward 50. No mark taken. Bouncing over the top. Henry tries to get to it. Can he keep it in? Not quite. Tapped it, trying to get it to his own advantage, but then allowed the Kangaroos to rush it through for a minor score. Inside 50 a moment ago from Banfield. Apologies, I looked up at the big screen for the replay. North Melbourne by 14 points now, 21 gone in the second.
I've been saying it's a goalless quarter, but Taylor did kick a goal at the start of the quarter, the very first minute of the term. So it's been 20 minutes since our last major. Ball in the hands of Davies-Uniacke at half-back, spearing kick. Beautiful use. Finds Kane Turner. Slow play this time from North Melbourne as they break into their attacking half, going very wide. Zerha at full stretch, hands to the footy, just inside the boundary line. Couldn't claim the mark, but will get a boundary throw in.
He's definitely gone to another level with Davies-Uniacke. There was a bit spoken about him towards the end of last year, but he certainly started 23 off really well.
16 possessions, equal with Aish, most on the ground. Have number 17 here with a little hand pass inside as North squeezing kick towards Stevenson. 45 out, goes backwards by hand. It's intercepted by Sarong. Can Fremantle launch off half-back this time? Ryan wants to run at them. Hand passes behind Wilson, who drops the footy. Has to go back and collect it. Pops it over the top for Brayshaw. Back to Wilson. Nearly runs into Stevenson. Nearly runs into Davies-Uniacke and decides to kick across half-back in the end and get it to Aish. Aish will go very short to Brody. Still in their defensive half here, Fremantle. Aish wants to run from behind. Receives the hand pass. Puts them long. Inside 50. Amos one-on-one getting back to help. McDonald drops the mark. Chance for Fremantle. Jackson pops a hand pass out. No one on the end of it. Bergman well tackled. Loses the footy. Henry about 25 out. Hand pass into space in front of Schultz. Lays it off by hand to Hughes. Swinging a hand pass inside at the feet of Henry. Not a great option and poor execution, although pressure is great from Brayshaw. Opens it up for Schultz. Outside of the boot, kicks a goal. Mistakes from both teams, and in the end, Schultz on the end of it to kick a goal. And as they did in the first quarter, it's taken until time on in the second for Fremantle to get their first goal of the quarter. But they have 3 on the board and they're back within 8 points. It's Fremantle 3-6-24. North Melbourne a 5-2-32. You're listening to Grandstand AFL. Sharad Wellingham and Shane Woden, your experts here this evening.
Well, that 20 seconds of football needed a little bit of Benny Hill music, I think. It was mistake after mistake, but the forward pressure, I'm not sure who laid that smother, but it was Brayshaw that just ricocheted right into the hands of Schultz and a nice outside of the boot check side. Good finish from Schultz.
Donald had numbers around him. He could have used his hands.
Yeah, I think that was the pressure, the feel of the pressure, wasn't
absolutely. It was great pressure by Freeman. Perceived. I just thought he had time just to be able to think through the situation a little bit more clearly. Dump a handball to release a better kick option.
It wasn't pretty. They got a result, those in the purple. From the restart, trying to get out after O'Meara again. Spills out the side. North have it. Zerha's kick was smothered. Good pressure from Brayshaw once more. Chance now for Chapman to gather. Picked it up at right half back. Hand pass bounced twice for Sarong to run onto. He'll kick towards right half forward. Amos has given away a free kick. Knocked over Core, attempting to get to the footy. Core will have it at left half back. He's trying to put himself about a bit. today, Amos. Only so far giving away free kicks. Forward Kraft some time away. Certainly a player of some promise as North kick down the southern wing. Umpire swats a free kick here. It will come back towards the Dockers. And then the ball wasn't returned immediately. So I would argue from what we've seen in the past, that should be 50. They're not being paid.
It was knocked out of his hands by the Fremantle player.
Okay.
The crowd definitely thought it should have been at 50.
Here's Chapman. He gets the free kick against Cunnington. Moves it back towards Ryan inside his defensive 50 and flares it out to Wilson on the northern wing.
Bit of space for Wilson to run. Chips it in short and finds Henry just too far out to score for Liam Henry. Thought about going long, then thought about going short. Now he's called to play on. Kicks a bit of three-quarter distance kick in the end. In for the side, Switkowski had it knocked away from him. Zerha, hand pass away to Scott. Just kicks it as far as he can and turns the defence around. Has Chapman leading back. He's got 30 metres of space to gather the footy, and he'll go back to the quarterback again in Ryan. And we'll start where it all started before. Ryan thought a little short pass, but he'll go lateral instead and go to Clark as we're inside the last minute of the term.
Clark switches play again, heading to the southern side to Ryan. The orange boots, dangerous kick, but O'Meara was able to wait. Stevenson closing him in. O'Meara thought about going up the corridor, instead heads to the southern wing to Chapman again. Chapman plays on, kick bounces right in front of Sarong. He hoovers it up, hand passes forward to Brayshaw, steps around Powell, goes back with the kick. I did this a lot last week, Fremantle. I don't think any side kicked backwards more as Ryan chases it back, gathers and finds Brayshaw, who marks between right half back and centre wing on the outer side. Will go back with the kick again to centre half back. Chapman takes on Curtis, got past him, kicks in the direction of right half forward. Darcy couldn't mark, stumbles and bobbles. There's going to be a free kick back here though, and it's going the way of Jai Amos. He infringed in the contest just seconds before. Amos will trot back. Is he going to? No, he won't. I thought he might try the long distance barrel instead.
It's 90 metres.
Oh, have a go, will you? Just for giggles, if nothing else.
It's a big barrel.
That's a big barrel.
It's an impossible barrel, but
like.
Get a bit of practice in.
Yeah.
5-2-32 North Melbourne to the Dockers 3-6-24. It was, well, an uninspiring quarter to say the least. It's Fremantle with a bit of work to do in front of their home crowd. North will continue on. It was an impressive first quarter. They saw their lead cut back to just 8 points from the 10-point margin that it was at quarter time. They haven't really looked troubled all that often, and it took a fortunate ricochet after a good smother coming from Brayshaw to see the ball spill down for what was the Fremantle's third goal of the game, coming to Lockie Schultz. Goal kickers look like this. Larky's got a couple, and then for North Melbourne, their other goal kickers, Powell, Taylor and Stevenson, while for Fremantle, Switkowski, Frederick joined in that second turn with Lockie Schultz kicking a goal as well. Quick update again for you before we hear from our experts at the Docklands. There's not been a lot of scoring there either. The Saints by 25 points, 4-26 to the Western Bulldogs, one behind. I keep thinking surely that score can't be right, but that's...
Is it updating?
Yeah. Have
you clicked refresh?
I have. It's now 38 minutes. I'm not sure if something else has gone on. We'll have a look at the social media and see if we can find out. But yes, I absolutely clicked.
Have the lights gone out?
Have the lights gone out there as well? Well, that would be a story. Half-time here. What have you made of things? Sharad Willingham. Oh, that's more like it. An update there.
We've got Western Bulldogs 29, St Kilda 34 at half-time.
Ah, well, then something's happened, right? See, look,
That's Perth Stadium.
There's my... Sorry, that's not wrong. 38 gone there on my clock on the computer. 4-2-26 to 1 behind. Don't trust the computers. The message out of this. So, what score have you got there, Shaz?
29 to Western Bulldogs, 34 to St Kilda.
Okay, so at least that as I did say to you, I was suspicious about that scoreline when you see that.
My tips have been horrendous if that's the case.
Well, more the point is I just couldn't see it being that no scoring for that amount of time. Anyway, that's the AFL website.
Philippou with a couple.
Has he?
Yes.
Oh, good on him. He's a great story. They'd be stoked by that, the Saints.
Yeah, it's a good pick up, wasn't it?
we need to chat about this one. North still up by 8 points. Shane, Sharad, what do you mate of things?
Yeah, a bit of a stalemate. It's a bit of an arm wrestle that second term.
Yeah.
A lot played between the arcs, wasn't it?
And they definitely slowed their ball movement, both sides. They were more willing to just chip around and take a little bit of the heat out of the game. I don't know if that was an instruction or they were a bit fatigued from the first quarter. Like Bridget said, it was still 28, 29 degrees when they started, and it might have just sapped them a bit, and they needed to pull it back for a little bit and regain some breath, I suppose.
Yeah.
They both did a reasonably good job of retaining the footy. They didn't have any turnovers, didn't have any bad skill errors that resulted in goals. The goals came about from when they did try and produce a contest or move the ball quickly, and then it was brought on by pressure,
quarter, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very safe quarter from both of them.
Which is not a bad thing. You just not got to score.
Exactly.
Yeah,
both teams scored a goal, or both teams scored a goal. So you're definitely not going to score many goals with that game plan. So I would like to see them both continue to try and take it on like they did in the first. It was much more exciting, more of what I think we want to see from both sides.
Yeah, both defences held up pretty well in their back halves and be able to repel attacks. He just couldn't quite go down and be as effective. You know, Henry had an opportunity just to be able to lower the eyes and hit Brayshaw short. Came at him. It was on. It was a 20-metre pass, and Brayshaw late then would have had a shot 45 out. So certainly within his range, and he just wasn't able to pin it. You know, again, go long, contest, ball bounces and gets back out again. So
North, I don't think around the contest were as dynamic as they were in that first quarter either. I know when they were breaking away. I remember I said Davies Uniacke and the like were breaking away from the contest. They definitely weren't doing that. They're still up in the clearances, 6 ahead in the clearances, so not a huge margin there. But when they were getting those nice clean clearances, they were just breaking away with their legs, which looked really good. And as a forward, that's what you want, because you're playing in front and you're predictable at the contest. You're coming out and you're going to get in front and get that first look, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, it's a solid start without being a huge spectacle, but, you know, I like what the Kangaroos have produced. So on the road, round 2, you know, some young players out there and be able to respond and continue the effort and the consistency from last week. Now, they'll be pretty happy with how they've gone into half-time here and silencing the crowd a little bit here at Perth Stadium.
I know Aish got up without an issue, but Zeeble definitely left the ground and got him in the head, and it was late. Anything to worry about? Even though he got up?
I'd love to see a replay.
Action. Go look at the action.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with him whatsoever. He stayed down for 3 or 4 seconds and got up and kept going.
But
hit him in the head.
But so did Bailey Smith. He's got him in the head. I would like to see. I'd really like to have another look at the replay. I'm still going to say this. I've been arguing this for 2 years, and it falls on deaf ears. But if you elect a bump and you get someone high, then how can that be careless? That's got to be intentional.
Absolutely.
And yet, time and time again, it gets put forward as careless.
Because you're not trying to get them in the head.
No, but you intention. And this is where we go. You have chosen to bump, and if they want to rule out head-high contacts, then they have to look at it more seriously. Because the problem is there's no reckless anymore. And I know I'm going back 10 years, but there was 3 levels once. There was careless, which is just bad luck. There was reckless, where you had an onus to do more than what you did. And there was intentional, which was really only used if you punched someone.
Yeah.
So by removing reckless to make it just careless and intentional, they've actually left themselves, I think, with a problem with the way the matrix goes. Your intent was to bump. We've been told the onus, therefore, is on you what happens from that. And therefore, if you get a person in the head, it has to be intentional, in my opinion. And I know that I'm one of the few who argues this, but instantly, if you make that intentional, then it allows, I would say, a more, in an era where we're looking at protecting the head at all costs, a more palatable suspension can be handed down for what we're doing.
But do you want the bump gone? Like as in
gone?
Well, I think the bump only has a role really as a protective action. I think in pretty much every occasion that we've seen of the bump in the last week or so, you have the ability to tackle. And if you want to put some physical pressure on, you can absolutely do that in a tackle. But if we have a look at what Cozzy Pickett did, we have a look at what McAdam did in particular. McAdam had every opportunity. He could have perfectly lined up and ironed out where in a legitimate tackle. He had the ball, you can hit him in the chest slow, you can drive him backwards, but you don't make contact with the head.
Yeah. I'll be really interested, and I can't wait for tonight's decision tomorrow. Today there was an incident, a tackling incident at Adelaide Oval.
He's slung him over the
Broad
boundary. Yep.
Has knocked out Parnell, so he'll miss now a couple of weeks through concussion. Great tackle technique early, but then the second motion with the sling and then dumped him on his head. It's a month. 3 to 4 weeks. You've chosen to sling around. You didn't have to. Just drop your knees and tackle him and take him over the line. That poor kid's now got concussion, and we'll spend 12 days on protocols.
And I accept that there's people who go, oh, it's not the old days. I get that it's not, but we change our attitude as more information becomes available, and we now know what concussion can cause.
Yes. We've got duty of care out there as a player.
And that's the idea of careless, that you haven't exercised your duty of care towards a player.
Yeah.
So I would say as soon as you elect a bump, you've made that decision.
That
aside. You put that aside, it becomes intentional.
I know we make split-second decisions, but we are well aware now and well educated on the ramifications of if you choose to make that decision.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses anymore.
And all of us, and this is where we come from a place of worrying about the game, all of us want the best players to be able to play without having to deal with the ramifications of concussion down the line, and we also don't want the game itself to be in any level of jeopardy. And so therefore these things have to be ironed out.
Yeah.
I know that there's split-second calls, and there are times when guys will protect themselves and get someone high, and I'll go, look, that's careless. But if you decide I'm going to bump you, and everyone that we've seen so far has been
an engagement.
I've made the decision to bump, then you have intended to bump them, and therefore the careless thing, I think, goes out the window. And I know sometimes everyone can disagree, and that's perfectly fine, but I think more needs to be done.
So then does the matrix need to change?
Yes, I think it does.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely needs to be overhauled straight away.
I would almost argue they wanted to make these things more black and white because everyone was always up in arms with what the tribunal in the past, now the match review officer, hands out. I still think there's more of a case of either you need to add back in a tier like reckless, or there needs to be an ability for things like concussion where you can get an extra 25% loading on what's happened, and so therefore you deserve more weeks than you get. I was uncomfortable with Cozzy Pickett just getting 2, and I think maybe Lance Franklin probably deserved 2 again. Not with the same impact, but still had the ability to cause some serious... And he could have tackled, he could have corralled, and he's chosen to bump. Now, he's a ripper of a player. You've chosen to bump and you've ironed out Sam Collins. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you, by the way. 0437 774 774. You're most welcome to have your say on this or indeed any other issue if you want us to debate here on Grandstand AFL. Half-time. The Kangaroos in front over the Dockers, 5-2-32 to 3-6-24. Let's pause and take the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with David Rowlands. The ABC's election analyst Anthony Green is projecting that Labor will be able to form government in New South Wales, but he says it's not clear whether it will be in minority or majority. Jessica Kidd has more.
It's still early in the count, but there appears to have been a 6.5% swing towards Labor. The ABC's election analyst, Anthony Green, says the figures are looking good for Labor and concerning for the Liberal Party, but he's stopped short of declaring a firm result at this stage. Around 1.5 million people have chosen to vote early at this election, and more than 120,000 postal votes have been returned. Meanwhile, counting in Bathurst in the state's central west has been delayed after a massive storm cut power at the early voting centre.
The Labor candidate for the seat of Parramatta in Sydney's west, Donna Davis, is leading the race against her Liberal opponent. Retiring Liberal MP Jeff Lee, who held the seat with a margin of 6.5%, says it's a difficult battle.
As the pendulum swings a different way, it'll be tough for us. I've been in Parliament now for 12 years. It's hard to transfer that personal following to our candidate, Katie Mullins, who's a fantastic candidate. She wasn't put in the field till fairly late in the piece, and we've had against her a mayor that's been campaigning using that mayoralty position for the last 2 years. So it's going to be a tough fight tonight.
Meantime, Labor supporters are nervously watching the New South Wales election count at the party's main function in Sydney South. State political reporter Cameron Gock is there.
There's a sense of cautious optimism at Labor headquarters as early results start coming through. Labor leader Chris Minns spent the day in marginal southwestern Sydney seats like East Hills, which the Liberals hold, on just 0.1%. He then cast his vote in his own seat of Cogra, which also sits on a razor-thin margin. Labor needs to win 9 seats to form a majority and have only claimed government from opposition twice since World War II. Meanwhile, the Liberals and Nationals are hoping to win a historic 4th term in government. Polling suggests there is a real possibility neither party can form a majority and will need to rely on crossbench support to form minority government.
There have been major disruptions to trains in Sydney's west, with commuters left stranded this evening. Reporter Nabil Al-Nashar has more from Parramatta Station.
Due to major delays, there are no trains coming in or out of the station. Only 2 trains managed to pass through. On the platform across from me over there were hundreds of commuters stranded for at least 30 minutes trying to catch a train to the city. We're still stranded on this platform trying to catch a train to Penrith. Now, this is one of the major issues that are definitely on the minds of voters as they're going to the voting booths to cast their votes. Transportation. There's huge pressure on whoever's going to form the next government to deliver cheap and reliable public transport, reliable being the key word here.
The Victorian opposition has accused the Andrews government of wasting money on major projects when it could be better spent on helping the community. Premier Daniel Andrews has warned that the coming budget will be challenging because repeated increases in interest rates have added millions of dollars to Victoria's repayments for major projects. Shadow Treasurer Brad Rouswell has said that money should be used on frontline services.
Every dollar wasted on a major project is a dollar not invested in the things that matter for Victorians, into frontline services, into nurses in hospitals, into teachers in classrooms, into police working the beat and keeping Victorians safe.
A government spokesperson says election commitments will be honoured and key services will be maintained. Thousands of protesters have rallied in Darwin in response to the stabbing death of young bottle shop worker Declan Laverty. Matt Garrick reports.
Protesters turned out in their droves in the forecourt of Darwin's Parliament House this morning, calling for immediate action to halt rising levels of crime in the region. Organiser Kobe Campbell gave an impassioned speech calling for the government to implement Declan's law, new legislation to be tougher on crime. Those in attendance also chanted "Enough is enough" and called for the Chief Minister to be sacked. The 20-year-old was killed last week while working at a Darwin bottle shop. A 19-year-old man has been charged with his murder.
The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says the death toll of militants from US airstrikes on pro-Iranian installations in eastern Syria has risen to 19. The War Monitor says that was from the initial American response to a drone attack on Thursday on a US military position in Syria that killed 1 American contractor and wounded another 5 troops. There's no independent verification yet of the toll. And just recapping our top story, that the ABC projects that the Labor Party will form government in New South Wales.
Welcome to Sydney, 1983.
It was the hedonistic queer haven.
Come on, people!
That turns dark.
Something is killing gay men.
Are you referring to AIDS?
Where fear was infectious.
Our kids are not safe.
But courage was contagious.
So many of our friends are getting sick.
New ABC drama, inspired by real events.
We have a choice.
In our blood.
The world needs beautiful things right now.
Sunday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Cox, ugly looking kick. Wanted Hughes, was good enough to tap it down. Wilson gathers, tackled by Scott. Looked like he dropped the football. Umpire says play on. Zerha was there for North. Gathers and puts it inside forward 50. Taylor marking about 45 out from goal. He'll start in line with the right hand behind post. Here's Taylor. From 48 metres out, looked pretty good. We're right behind the kick. It sails through for a major. The Kangaroos with the first of the second quarter, and it took them just more than 60 seconds to register it.
Bergman well tackled. Loses the footy. Henry about 25 out. Hand pass into space in front of Schultz. Lays it off by hand to Hughes. Swinging a hand pass inside at the feet of Henry. Not a great option and poor execution, although pressure is great from Brayshaw. Opens it up for Schultz. Outside of the boot, kicks the goal.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Lights are on, cloudy skies at Perth Stadium. Both teams back out on the field. David Lindsay's got all the stats in front of him. What do they tell you, Dave?
Well, it's very even on the scoreboard and the stat sheet. Fremantle 206 disposals to North Melbourne's 200. The handballs is where Fremantle have had the majority, 178 kicks. North Melbourne lead that 122 to 106. Marks 53 to Fremantle, North 55. Inside 50s, North a +3 there, 24 to 21. Luke Davies-Uniacke leads the way for North Melbourne with 17 possessions. Zerha, Sheasel and Zeeble with 14 each, while for Fremantle, Luke Ryan in defence 19. Aisha's had 18. Brayshaw 15, going at 100% disposal efficiency, but only 194 metres gained, so not doing a lot with his possessions. Sarong 13 and O'Meara 13 possessions.
Little update for you again. The Western Bulldogs, they did kick 4 straight goals to finish the second quarter, so they stormed back in. The Saints only lead by 4 points now, 6-4-40 to the Bulldogs, 5-6-36. That's 7 minutes into the third term. A genuine fight on now at the Docklands. Bridget Lacey's got some news for us. She's downstairs.
Thanks, Clint. I can confirm North Melbourne have made their sub at the break. Paul Curtis out with illness. So Daniel Howe into the game for his first game in Kangaroos colours, and he received his jumpers from the one and only Winnie Abraham before the game.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
Winnie.
Strange illness.
I don't know. He certainly didn't look ill when he shoved 2 Fremantle players away like they weren't there in the right forward pocket in that second quarter. Hope that he's okay. So that replacement been made official. Curtis out and Howe in for North Melbourne. After 96 games as a Hawk, 27-year-old, getting another opportunity under the former Hawks coach in Alistair Clarkson. What have the Dockers got in them in this quarter? Third term about to get underway. They trail by 8. Can the Kangaroos keep on keeping on? Let's find out. Here's Dave Lindsay on Grandstand AFL.
Darcy starts in the middle this time. He beats Goldstein, but Simpkin sharks the tap. Little kick travels barely the 15. Davies-Uniacke up in the air, couldn't take it. Knocked forward with a nice little kick from Goldstein, making some ground. Or rather than Goldstein, of course, it was Greenwood. Clearing kick from Fremantle out of defence, finds the safety of the boundary, and we'll see a throw in on the southern side wing.
Perfect kick for touch there from Ryan, wasn't it?
Superb. Did exactly what he wanted it to do. 30 seconds into the third quarter. The artificial light has taken over here at Perth Stadium. As Bridget mentioned, substitute made by North Melbourne. Daniel Howe in for his first run in North Melbourne colours. The ex-Hawk. 96 games for the Hawks. Free kick to another ex-Hawk here. And Jager O'Meara, now at his third club. Steers his kick towards half forward. Sarong, a good hard lead, just sneaks away from Davies-Uniacke to take it. Wide out at left half forward, he'll go backwards again to O'Meara. About 20 metres further forward than he took his last kick. Short pass to Brayshaw. Mentioned at half time, every one of his disposals so far has been classified as effective. This one will travel 50 metres to the teeth of the goal square. Taberner sets himself in the middle of the pack. Darcy there too. Also Jackson. But it's the smaller North players that emerge with the football, and Sheasel measures his pass superbly and hits the lead of Kane Turner at right half back.
Great Ken Casellas would have been thrilled by that as the kick is down the outer side. Greenwood marks. Ugly kick back inboard. Bounces okay to Shield though. He's on the logo. Southern wing. Sends it inside forward 50 for North. Larkey brings it down one-handed. Spills to Zerha from the right forward pocket. He misses. Would have been some finish too.
Well played by Larkey, wasn't it? Just better control the ball, keeping his area for his
forwards to get on.
Yeah.
Perfect, wasn't it?
Oh.
North 5-3-33. Freo 3-6-24. 2 minutes gone in the third.
Cox with the kick in, short to Ryan. Ken Casellas, the paperwork, Clint. A work of art, wasn't it?
It was a work
All the
of
pens
art.
and pencils going.
Just thought of him with the cricket, of course, the Sheffield Shield in town.
Loved his effective handballs and effective kicks. Banfield just short of the wing. Pops a hand pass over the top to the run of Taberner. Outside of the right boot. Did it very nicely with a non-preferred. Gets it to Schultz. Kicks inboard. Needs to be precise. Almost. Frederick with one bite. Couldn't finish it. Now he applies a tackle on McDonald. He'll get a stoppage. A metre inside the attacking 50 for Fremantle. Low-scoring battle. Just the 8 goals in the game. North have kicked 5 of those. Goldstein takes clean possession. Took a long time to get rid of it. And the umpire said too long. We'll get a free kick going the way of Darcy, who hasn't enjoyed the best of first halves. Maybe he can turn it around the second half. Just 2 possessions before half-time to Sean Darcy. He goes to play on. Gets a good piece of this kick. Right to the goal line. Daniel Howe. First involvement in the game is a rush behind, knocking it through. Fremantle move to 3-7-25. They trail North Melbourne 5-3-33, just 3 minutes into the third.
North almost ran themselves into trouble, but Sheasel's good enough to get a kick away. Oh, flying up in the air. Almost went way too early then, Comben. Didn't matter. It's going to be taken there by Ryan. Big rise from Charlie Comben, but nowhere near it. Ryan stayed down, got the footy, sends it back inside attacking 50. Courage shown by Greenwood. Floating in, only had eyes for the football. Goes short and back to Lowe. Marks it right full back. Tell every time he's got the footy here at Perth Stadium. Kicks across the face of goal. Finds Core. Core stands right on the boundary line. His kick, was it touched? It was. So this can't be a mark, despite the fact that Banfield was able to grab it and try to get a hand pass away as he's taken over the line for a throw-in. Right half forward for Freo. Saints lead by 3 points. 12 gone now at the Docklands. Against the Bulldogs, 6-4 plays 5-7. Ball spun back into play. Goldstein palmed it down, but straight to Sarong for the Dockers. To Aish, kicks back towards full forward. Taberner got hands to it, spills to ground. Zeeble picks it up off the deck. Clearing kick will bounce towards the commentary wing. Met by Larkey. Quick hand pass inboard. Anywhere would do. Greenwood to Stevenson, moves it on to Simpkin, takes a bounce through the middle of the ground. Simpkin goes long to a 1-on-1 inside forward 50. Pearce is able to get a hand to it. Zurha maybe gave him a nudge, looks to soccer it forward. Zurha, and it ricochets in any direction than the one he wanted. It's over the boundary line for a throw-in in the left forward pocket. 5-3-33 North, 3-7-25 the Dockers, 5 gone in the third term.
Fremantle sub Michael Walters doing a few run-throughs on the boundary. Still waiting for his opportunity to come in for game 203. The Fremantle veteran has a great record against North Melbourne. Might have a part to play yet. Zurha roving the boundary throw-in. Inside-out torpedo. Falls short. And Pearce, the captain, marking on the goal line, or the behind line as it is. So Alex Pearce strapping on that right knee. Long kick clears defensive 50. Jackson in a wrestle opposed to Core. They bring it to ground. Banfield comes through. Appear to be held. And then a bump was a little high, but the hold happened first and Banfield get the free kick. So Bailey Banfield, so often the sub, getting a full game today. Goes with the accidental torpedo. Not well directed. Lowe coming the opposite direction, takes it for North. Kicks it back to the same spot. Greenwood had a piece of it, couldn't take the mark. Fights on well, good strength. Gets a hand pass away now. Zurha off towards Shields, puts the ball on the ground by accident. And then the soccer kick from Brayshaw goes into the shins of Shield and straight into the turf. Brayshaw wants out of bounds on the full, but it was a bump ball. 8 points the lead to North Melbourne. Boundary throwing 50 out from the North goal at left half forward. 6 minutes played in the third quarter here at Perth Stadium.
Ball heaved back into play by the boundary umpire. The ruck got to it. Shields was there. Got a kick away for North. Inside forward 50. Larkey couldn't quite mark. Clark mops up the crumbs for the Dockers to Young. Hand pass to Wilson running by. Kicks towards the southern wing. Frederick underneath it. Alongside him Zeeble. Zeeble wins it to ground. Frederick though wins the ball. Bounces up quickly. Hand passes forward to Henry. He's at left half forward. Henry looks to backtrack and kicks back to Wilson. Standing just in front of the logo. Southern wing. Fremantle have had a chance to get players forward, but so too North. Players back defensively as Wilson from the logo puts it into the left forward pocket. Taberner front position, couldn't mark under pressure. Going to ground, Sheasel got it away to Zeeble. Hurry kick forward by Lowe. Comes back to Sheasel again. threw it high on the boot towards the outer wing. Tapped down by Cox, straight towards Clark. He's tackled immediately, and that's it's a dump. He slung the player into the ground then against Coleman, and it's going to be Clark that has the ball, and he'll move it short to Young, who marks just shy of the centre circles.
Left footer looks at all the options. Punches a low kick into Darcy. Good use again from Young. Darcy 53 metres out. Little chip pass, sets it up to the top of the goal square. It came off the fingertips? No. Mark was paid to Zeeble. He got some attention straight away. Thought perhaps it had clipped the fingertips of McDonald in front, but the mark paid to the North veteran. Surprisingly, for all that he's done, never won a best and fairest at North. Must have come close a few times. On the way out, they find Sheasel. Hand pass to McDonald, runs straight into the tackle of Banfield. They're good enough to escape though. Powell on the receive. Away with some dash. 2 bounces, now a third. Crosses the centre line. Little chip pass out in front of Goldstein, not well directed. Favours Ryan. Spins into the tackle of Goldstein. How will the umpire see this? Well, the ball spilled out just in time. Had the whistle to the mouth. He was about to ping him. Davies-Uniacke collects, running away from goal. Sweeping hand pass from Powell towards Curtis. Or Taylor rather, onto Bergman, now to Simpkin, crosses the 50, steadies, kicks on goal and finishes it. Brilliant finish from the coach skipper. He tossed the coin out there today and he's put North out to a 14-point lead. 8.5 minutes gone in the third quarter. North Melbourne 6-3-39. Fremantle stuck on 3-7-25. Let's go down to Bridget on the boundary.
Yeah, I know Matt Taberner was the guy subbed out last week for Fremantle. He did just come to the bench. He was looking a little bit tired and went straight to the physios for a rub. The doctor did wander over for a chat, so we'll keep an eye on him. But Alistair Clarkson loved that finish. Then he was up and about on the bench.
With good reason.
Yeah, Sherry Wellingham knew something we didn't in his selection pre-game.
Yeah.
He was all over it. No, they've been very good. Their pressure's been amazing. A bit of defend back 50 has been outstanding today.
Just the run then from Tom Powell through the middle. Tucked it on and just set his eyes up and looked up and went at the game. Really, really liked that. Really liked it.
It's a class finish as well from Simpkin. The restart, the Kangaroos will get it through Simpkin once more to Cunnington. Tries to hand it back. Howe's kick was smothered, but it went out to Davies-Uniacke. Now to Simpkin again. Awesome, the Roos at the moment. The kick inside forward 50. Condon, did he take the mark? Juggled it, couldn't quite grab it. Zerha looks to pick it up. Pearce tackles him to ground. Umpire works. Will ball it up and full forward for North Melbourne. It is just a wave of blue and white forward at the moment. Darcy wins it down. Davies-Uniacke couldn't quite control it. Was he legged by Sarong? Umpire says it's all okay. It's gone across. That's the football. The boundary line, the behind line for a minor score. 6-4-40 North, 3-7-25 the Dockers. 10 gone in the third. Quick update at the Docklands. The Saints now in front by 16. 18 gone in the third over the Bulldogs.
Collingwood winners earlier today over Port Adelaide by 71 points, and Richmond defeated Adelaide by 32. As Amos leaps into the air on the wing and takes a fine grab. It's been a quiet start to him, a late inclusion for 5, but he's set Fremantle in motion here. They get it to Henry. He's 55 out, searching for Frederick with a long kick. Well covered again. Curtis Taylor getting back. And the North defenders and mids have covered Fremantle well every time they've tried to break free today.
I'd love to see him really kick a gear and put that to the goal square. An opportunity to score there.
Boundary throw in alongside the left hand behind post. Deep in Fremantle's attack. What can Jackson create here? Tried to search for a little runner going by. Simpkin shreds his way through traffic. Overrunning it is Howe. Here's Henry. Lays it off. Snap on goal from Brody is close. It's good. Brody has the goal for Fremantle. And they stay well and truly within touch. North Melbourne 6-4-40. Lead Fremantle 4-7-31. We've played nearly 12 minutes in the third quarter here at Perth Stadium on Grandstand AFL. Sherrod Wellingham and Shane Woewodin.
Just that skill area with the fumble, wasn't it? The back line can't afford to have that happen. Yes. Who was it? It was Howe. Down on the ground, like obviously a tough thing to come through clean and pick that up. You just got to slow down, don't you, and make sure it goes into the hands, especially in that back line.
And just come on as the sub. So probably no excuses really, but yeah, they're the little things that do hurt you inside defensive 50 if you're not clean enough. It's a great snap by Brody.
I think the Fremantle small forwards have done their job tonight. They're doing a good job. They're putting on the pressure. They're providing some run and options out on the wings. It's just not Switkowski through the middle.
Darcy won it down as Switkowski was tackled. Tried to get it to O'Meara. Brody's there once more to Hughes. Throws it on the boot. Kicks Fremantle inside the attacking 50. Logue with the spoil. Palmed it down. Simpkin was there. De Sheasel. Quick hands. Trying to get to it. Cunnington. Is he able to pick it up? Can't under pressure. Well done from Fremantle. They can lock this in. Desperate stuff from the Dockers. They needed that goal moments ago from Brody. He's been involved in everything since, alongside Schultz then, getting the stop in the middle of the ground. Throwing up. Darcy palmed it down. Sarong couldn't gather. Hughes was there. Met by Howe. Socked forward by Hughes again inside attacking 50. Greenwood, or rather go to try to take on an opponent. Lost it. Spilled down. Snapping on goal. Banfield, and he kicks it from 40 out. Fremantle, they've found something. And they've got back-to-back majors. And they draw themselves to within 3 points. North Melbourne is 6-4-40. Fremantle 5-7-37. North's lead cut to 3 points. And we've travelled now 13 and a bit minutes into the third term. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Yeah, James Aish came to the bench a little while ago and he's just getting his left shoulder looked at by the doctors. It looks like they're just patching him up and he'll come back out, but we'll keep an eye across it. Michael Walters looks pretty keen to get out there.
As Sharad talked about, it's the pressure inside forward 50. They just hunted then.
Schultz's effort on Cunningham was massive, because if he doesn't hold that in, they had 3 forward of the play there and they were away. Huge effort from Schultz.
All of their goals coming from smalls today so far, Fremantle, and 4 of their 5 coming from open play. Cunnington's caught in the middle. Fremantle has certainly found a spark here. Free kick and play on to Sarong. Bouncing kick, blocked by McDonald, takes possession and then kicks clearing towards the wing. First to get back there is Clark, close to the line. He was pretty happy to take it over. And a throw in alongside the Fremantle bench.
They had to respond, Fremantle. It was 9-2, +7 at centre square bounce. The Kangaroos. So they've won the last 2, Fremantle, just about to get them field position and be able to kick those last 2 goals.
In the ruck, Greenwood used the body well that time against Jackson to win it. Brody, though, extracts the football from the congestion. Lays off the hand pass to O'Meara. Kicks to a leading Taberner. 70 metres out at right half forward. Long to the pocket. Banfield in a one-on-one against McDonald. And the experienced defender positioned himself well. Got the right fist to the footy. Just a boundary throw in right forward pocket.
Just wasn't a kick to advantage then from Taberner, was it? He took too long. He doesn't get back off the mark quick enough, and then there's just no synchronicity, I suppose, between the forwards that are deep. Just needed to put that in front of Banfield instead of on his head.
North by 3 points. We'll head down to Bridget Lacey on the boundary again shortly. Jackson with the tap. Greenwood takes possession. He's caught. Quickly down to Bridget.
You know, North have already made their subs, but Liam Shields just leaped to the bench looking very sore.
We'll keep an eye on him. The substitution already made, as Bridget said. Curtis out of the game. Howe into it. Greenwood contests against Jackson. Roving is Sarong. Left foot kick doesn't quite get the distance. And it's marked right on the line by Core. Clearing kick goes very wide and Simpkin marks. Left half back. Pops a kick over the top to Davies Uniacke. He's at half back. Hand pass to the runner. Simpkin getting it again, but his kick falls short. Young interfered with in the marking contest. And then Comben wants to go on with it as well. Perhaps didn't hear the whistle. He's certainly playing like he didn't. Fires a hand pass straight to the umpire unintentionally. And the free kick comes back to Hayden Young. Right beneath our broadcast position up here. Level 4 of Perth Stadium. Young punches it in low towards right half forward. Jackson flies. It clears him. Core at the back. Loses it in the tackle. Switkowski fights on. Wins the ground ball. Hand pass to Jackson. Puts it out in front with a hand pass, but North first to react. Sheasel gives it off to Core. Kicks to the wing. Young sets himself for a very ambitious mark of the year attempt. He gave away a free kick, flying well before acceptance. It was almost Warwick Kappa style. Hands on the shoulders, getting rid of his opponent. Free kick to North, and Howe has it now.
And Howe draws Frederick to him and goes short to Call, then moves it on to Sheasel and then kicks to Cunnington. He marks 51 out from goal. He looks to play on, kicking it forward and marking is Taylor. Did well, Ben Cunnington. Despite the pressure around him, was able to work out a little kick that sees Taylor mark pretty much in line with the left-hand goalpost. He'll go back and have a shot from about 45 out.
It's a good build-up by the Kangaroos, without going back off the mark.
Just quick face-up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Take the mark, turn really quickly, and then be looking for those short little 45 kicks.
Sam Mitchell-like.
Sam Mitchell.
Don't get off the mark. You come and man the mark.
Some big news happening downstairs. We'll go to Bridget in a moment. Here comes Curtis Taylor looking for his second of the night. He kicks truly for North. Steadies the ship for those in blue and whites. North a 7-4-46, the Fremantle 5-7-37, 18 gone in the third serve. Bridget Lacey, what's happened downstairs?
Michael Walters has entered the game for Fremantle as we expected. He was up on his feet for a long time, and Matt Taberner is the guy who's been subbed again for Fremantle. It didn't look like an injury issue. Michael Walters already had his stuff on before Taberner even made it to the bench, and he was sent straight to the back of the bench. So hopefully some pace for Fremantle. And I think Liam Shields was just a stinger. He looks like he'll be fine.
Taberner out for Walters. Taberner substituted in round 1 and round 2.
Cool. It was like the soccer striker coming on then, wasn't it?
Just needs to score and be substituted off as well and give the wave to the crowd, the old applause to the crowd. Thank you very much. Out of the middle come Fremantle. Switkowski off towards Henry. Pokes his kick inside 50. Banfield on the lead. Schultz runs into a tackle. Was it high? It was. 2 umpires saw it. They both come running in. Free kick coming back to Lockie Schultz to have a shot to bring Fremantle back within a goal again.
Big win off the wing. I think Switkowski won that loose ball.
Yep, and he's gone up and had an impact when he's gone into the centre bounces, hasn't he? I think 2 or 3 times he's gone in and impacted, which is really, really good.
Just brings energy.
So Lockie Schultz kicked 2 straight last week. Kicked a goal in the second quarter so far this evening. So just about to tick into time on in the third quarter from 40 metres out. 45-degree angle left of centre. He's pushed it across the face and has missed. 5-8-38 Fremantle. North Melbourne 7-4-46. The Roos by 8 points. Bang on 20 minutes played in the third quarter here at Perth Stadium.
Balls to Zeeble. Marks for North and goes beyond defensive 50. Looking to stretch then. Comben couldn't mark. Spilled down to Cox for the Dockers. Went short by a hand to Schultz, who got bumped over the boundary line. It'll be a throw-in again. Left half forward. As far as Fremantle is concerned, shot of Justin Longmuir looking a bit concerned on the big screen. Thrown back in. Both rucks had a touch, but then it spilled down to Goldstein. Gets a hurried kick away. Bounces towards the southern wing. Cox is able to get it up against Comben. Was he being held? He was. Comben infringing. And then Cox will take the free kick for Fremantle. Artificial light in full effect at Perth Stadium. Still a few patches of blue above us, but it's all the bright lights of Perth Stadium illuminating the situation at the moment as Brennan Cox kicks towards left half forward. Goldstein flew, got a fingertip on it, spilled down to Schultz, tackled by 2 Roos immediately. Call was 1. Gets up after wrapping up his opponent. Throwing aloft again. Goldstein still with the more telling tap. Switkowski couldn't gather. Stevenson could. Goes back to Goda. Gave it on to Powell. Kicks around the body. Young's able to intercept and he marks between the southern wing and left half forward and steers it inboard to Clark for the Dockers.
Clark will do the same with a kick to Walters. You can hear what the crowd thinks of the injection of Walters into the game. Long to Jackson. Elevated but couldn't finish the mark. Frederick with the roving. Had it in one hand and was tackled. Lost the footy. Free kick to Zeeble. Between fullback and centre half back. The North Melbourne veteran with the free kick. Short pass to Core.
Let's have a mark. Jackson.
Yeah, he's not clunking them, is he? He's getting to the contest and moving around reasonably well, but just not holding those forward 50 marks.
North go into this slow play again that we saw through a lot of the second quarter. Scott stabs a short one into Core. Core at half-back decides to wander off and go for a bit of a jog. Long towards half-forward, but Cox used the body well and takes a good mark. Just his third of the night. Well down on his 20 from last week. Across to O'Meara, and then O'Meara will go back outside with a kick and find Chapman just backward of the wing. Stabs his kick in low. Banfield marks and releases Brayshaw with a hand pass from half forward to full forward. Frederick at the back, getting back to Walters. Running back with the flight, diving at full stretch, takes the mark just inside the boundary. He's about 20 out, right up against the boundary line in the left forward pocket.
Surely goes the banana.
He's shaping like he might run out onto the right boot.
Does look like that.
We know how clever he is, but it will be the non-preferred if he does that. Gets fairly close to the man on the mark, comes out onto the right, swings it around for a goal. The perfect substitution for Fremantle as Michael Walters gets a goal within 5 minutes of being on the field. And they're back within 2 points. North lead at 7-4-46 to 6-8-44. We've got just over 5 minutes of game time to play in the third quarter here at Perth Stadium. And the Dockers are making a little run. They're within 2 points.
It's going to be their ground level players that score that will win the game for Fremantle. Their keys don't look like at all.
No impact.
No impact at all, aerially. So,
and the key defenders from Fremantle are doing a really good job on the key forwards from North. I think it's Comben, not having an impact when they're trying to release to him, are they? Like he's their long get out down the line every time, and he's just not impacting.
Like he hasn't really sniffed it for a little while either.
And Darcy wins the ruck tap against Goldstein. They're starting to win everywhere apart from this, where Zerha is able to gather. And the kick up in the air, not exactly what North was hoping for from Simpkin. Only finds Switkowski, who marks on the northern wing. Goes on a bit of a run, steers into the right forward pocket. Logue, that's a strong mark. The ex-Docker in front, surrounded by 5 other players. 3 on 3, and he dragged it down. Kicks beyond defensive 50. He wanted Howe, couldn't mark it, went a second time, spilled away from him. Wilson, does he keep it in? Not quite. Takes it across the line for a throw-in between centre wing and right half forward for Fremantle. Shot of Alistair Clarkson on the screen, chatting to the North bench as it's thrown in again. Darcy tapped it behind himself. Howe was able to gather, gave it to Sheasel, threw it on the boot. Down the commentary wing. Pearce attacked it, got a hand on it. North get the free kick, they take the advantage. It comes to Stevenson. He kicks from inside the centre square. It'll bounce and bounce through for a second. He saw the opening, saw the opportunity, and Jaden Stevenson took it to steady North. 8-4-52 the Kangaroos. The Dockers 6-8-44, 26 gone in the third term.
Yeah, fantastic, wasn't it? Just took the advantage, changed gears, and just saw open grass and took it towards the goal. So he got the favourable bounce.
What's it had to travel? 65?
Very similar to Gary Rowan's Friday night.
Yep, very similar. Saw the opening, said, I'll have a go.
It's one Fife had to do last week. Just kick it to grass and see what happens.
Mind you, they were at the dome and wouldn't run out there.
It just stopped.
Just stops.
Third multiple goal kicker for North Melbourne, and they respond yet again. Showing a lot of courage again here tonight, North Melbourne. They're up for the fight this year. Davis Uniac with the clearing kick out of the centre square again. Shields blocks it, hands it off to the charging bull in Zerha. He's just caught by Aish. Good enough to get a hand pass off to Howe with the left foot. The lead from Stevenson. The kick too much on it. And at the back, Clark takes the mark for Fremantle. Switches play from left back pocket to right. He finds Luke Ryan, who wants to slow it down for the Dockers. They trail by 8 again.
Finds the footy, Luke Ryan, doesn't he? Every week.
Certainly does. He leads the stat sheet again for Fremantle. Possession number 25. Kicks as far as he can towards half back. Gota gave a leap in front for North. Now tackles Darcy. which way is this one going. In fact, Goda was the one with the football initially, and Darcy will get the free kick. Right half back for Fremantle, just beneath our broadcast position. It's an 8-point lead to North Melbourne. To be edged towards three-quarter time. They'll go all the way back to Ryan at full-back.
Ryan takes a step or two with the orange boots. A long kick towards the outer side. Turner did really well. Was able to get in front of Chapman, brought it to ground. Chapman gathers and it's held to him.
Great contest by Turner.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Otherwise, Freo were surging away down that outer wing. 8 points, North lead by. Darcy wins it down. Slapped forward then by Brayshaw, met by Howe, taken high. Free kick going against Brodie. Howe will climb up. Stands just on the outer side of the sponsors logo, southern wing. Check in again at the Docklands for you in just a moment. The Saints and the Bulldogs. As North put it into the right forward pocket off the hands of Brennan Cox. It'll tumble across the boundary line for a throw-in. About 55 out from North's goal. They're heading to the left of our broadcast position. That's the Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium. Three-quarter time at the Docklands. The Saints, well, they've taken control again. They're up by 33. 11-5-71 to 5-8-38, the Bulldogs.
Starts of the season for Ross Lyon. Back in the coaching ranks. Sheasel attacking the football at half forward for North. Spills off hands. Goes to Davies Uniacke. Pretty dangerous in this position. Hits the post. Right hand upright for Luke Davies Uniacke. And Sheasel getting involved yet again. 23 possessions for Harry Sheasel. These youngsters that get started. We saw Ashcroft last night. Dacos looks like he's played forever.
Oh, dangerous. The kick in from Brennan Cox has been almost turned over. Ryan's just able to deal with it. Almost made a complete mess of that. Wilson set a real task. Fremantle can control it now from right half back. Oh, Brayshaw's kick's a shocker as well. Along the ground. Gathered there. Nicely done. They can build again through Turner. It's a core North Melbourne. Back to Logue, who juggles the mark inside his defensive 50. Switches play. Here's Howe. Howe, the former Hawk, kicks towards the southern wing. It's Combet on the chest. Marks about a metre in from the boundary. Still a 9-point lead in favour of North. 8-5 plays 6-8. And it'll turn over again for North Melbourne, and they might be punished.
Fremantle taken away through Cox. Hand pass to Aish. To half forward he runs. Chips it to Jackson. Marks that one on his chest. Wants to wheel and go. Changes his mind. Call to play on now. Steers a pass to Amos. Doesn't get it to him. Zeeble coming across in the nick of time. Walters attacks the footy. Tackled hard by Sheasel. Gets a hand pass away. 35 out from goal, but it's North who win it. They get it back to Zeeble. Sends a spiral torpedo out of the area. Backing back, Cox drops the mark. Darcy becomes the ball winner at ground level. Loses it in a hard tackle. Davies Uniacke gets rid of his opponent. Goes back and gets the footy. Away with a dash. 2 bounces. Chip pass. Zurhaar on his chest. A chance at one end for Fremantle was wasted. And now Zurhaar to go back and have a shot for goal. Let's check in with Bridget down on the boundary.
Making matters worse for the Dockers there, Nathan Wilson, he was on that player who just took that mark inside 50. He's very proppy, so he couldn't run at full pace there to cover his man. We'll watch him closely.
Cam Zurhaar played a lot of the game in the midfield today. He's had 22 possessions. Lining up for his first goal. From 45 out, tight angle to the right, and he's hung it out to the right and only just scrapes it in for a behind. North's lead becomes double figures. 10 points the gap. 54 plays 44. Nearly 31 minutes played. Siren sounds to end the quarter. And we're set up beautifully here. The favourites sitting 10 points behind. Last year's Wooden Spooners looking to go back-to-back to start season 2023. It's North 8-6-54. Fremantle 6-8-44.
What a start that would be under the new coach, Alistair Clarkson, the 4-time premiership winning coach. North hold the advantage at the final change. The goal kickers, 2 to Larkey, 2 to Taylor, 2 to Stevenson, singles to Simpkin and to Powell. While for Fremantle, their goals, all individuals, Schultz, Walters, Brodie, Frederick, Switkowski and Banfield. Three-quarter time at Perth Stadium. North's lead is 10 points, 8-6-54 to Fremantle, 6-8-44. Wherever you're listening, this is Grandstand AFL.
ABC Listen.
Our minds are powerful and complex.
Join Sana Kadar to explore everything mental about the mind, the brain, and our behaviour.
As you scale this technique up, you can memorise all kinds of things.
From negotiating to addiction to AI, the history of brainwashing, emotional intelligence, rudeness, and humour.
How does that feel?
All in the Mind with Sana Kadar. Podcast available now on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Howe draws Frederick to him and goes short to Call and moves it on to Sheasel and then kicks to Cunnington. He marks 51 out from goal. He looks the play on, kicking it forward and marking is Taylor. Did well, Ben Cunnington. Despite the pressure around him, was able to work out a little kick that sees Taylor mark pretty much in line with the left-hand goalpost. Here comes Curtis Taylor looking for his second of the night. He kicks truly for North.
Banfield marks and releases Brayshaw with a hand pass from half forward to full forward. Frederick at the back, getting back to Walters. Running back with the flight, diving at full stretch, takes the mark just inside the boundary. You know how clever he is, but it will be the non-preferred if he does that. Gets fairly close to the man on the mark, comes out onto the right, swings it around for a goal. The perfect substitution for Fremantle as Michael Walters gets a goal within 5 minutes of being on the field.
He's attacked it, got a hand on it. North get the free kick, they take the advantage. It comes to Stevenson. He kicks from inside the centre square and it'll bounce through for a second. He saw the opening, saw the opportunity, and Jaden Stevenson took it to steady North.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
So earlier today, Collingwood way too good for Port. 71-point winners, the Magpies over the Power. Richmond got it done in Adelaide against the Crows. They won there by 32 points. Early stages at the Docklands in the final term. The Saints lead that by 32, 11-5-71 to the Western Bulldogs, 5-9-39. And for our listeners, particularly here in WA, we need to bring you up to date with how the Shield is progressing. At Stumps on day 3, Victoria 6 for 122. So they lead WA. That's in their second innings by 2 runs. WA in their first innings all out for 315 with 4 wickets remaining. Victoria in its second innings 6 for 122, leading WA by 2 runs with 4 wickets remaining in the Sheffield Shield final, just over the way at the WACA ground. Here, North lead by 10 points over Fremantle. Shane Woden, Sharad Wellingham. What happens in the final term?
Well, can Fremantle bring enough energy and, I suppose, dare to get over the line? That's going to be the question, isn't it? Can their forwards have an impact, or are they going to have to continue to rely on their smalls to get the work done? But there's nothing wrong with the small forwards doing their job. They're doing a great job, but can you see the key forwards for Fremantle having an impact and grabbing a couple of marks and going back and kicking a couple of goals?
No,
I don't either. So it's going to fall. No. It's going to fall on those smalls, and they've got to get busy. They've got to put that frontal pressure on. I want to see the mids from Fremantle just getting it in there as quick as possible. Let them get to work, lock it in there. Maybe some repeat forward 50 stoppages and get active at those stoppages. North have just got to continue doing what they're doing. Take their ground when it's in front of them and run. I want to see them do that. And just keep going the way they have been going. They don't have to try and do anything different, whereas we've got to see Fremantle try.
Before we hear some of the numbers from Dave Lindsay, Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Yeah, Clint, just had confirmation from Fremantle that there's definitely no injury for Matt Taberner, so just a tactical sub again for him this week. Not sure what it means for him going forward, but no injuries for Fremantle, which is good news for them.
So a couple of weeks in a row for Matt Taberner. What do the numbers say to you, Dave?
Still very, very close on the stat sheet as well. North Melbourne 298 disposals, Fremantle 287. North with 18 more kicks, but Fremantle with 7 more hand passes. The marks are dead even at 80 apiece. The inside 50s favour Fremantle by 2, 38 to 36. Leading leading possession winners for North Melbourne. Sheasel with 23, so too Zerha and Davies Uniacke. Zeebel's had 22 touches as well. While for Fremantle, it's Ryan, 27, leading the way. Aish, 22 possessions. Brayshaw and Sarong, 19 touches each. Sean Darcy, just 5 possessions so far this evening, and Luke Jackson only 7. Goldstein's matched them, playing by himself. He's had 7 possessions himself with 20 hit-outs.
North would love to start this season after being wooden spooners for the past 2 years with 2 straight wins. The Dockers, if they are to have a chance of finishing in the top 4, can ill afford to drop 2 games. Most would expect them to win. Going down to St Kilda last week against a side who have been impressive but aren't expected to challenge. It is, though, North who have a 10-point advantage with a quarter to play. Stick with us here on Grandstand AFL. A grandstand finish coming up. It's Darcy against Goldstein across the centre circles. For the bounce to start, Darcy wins it down straight onto O'Meara. Pressure came from Davies Uniacke. He got him.
Best on for me at the moment, Luke Davies Uniacke.
He wins the free kick for a holding the ball call, and he moves it out towards Goda, who marks just shy of centre wing. Commentary side of the ground, stabs it forward to Scott. The 2 yellow fluoro booted players combine once more as Goda kicks inside the attacking 50, and Shields marks on the logo where it's painted 50. Is it too far out for him? Kicking towards the city end of the ground. He points towards the big sticks. Used to be able to carry this sort of distance. Liam Shields looking for his first goal in North Melbourne colours. 3-time premiership player with the Hawks. He thought about trotting in. He looks to pop it short. It's worked almost beautifully. Lucky got hands to it though. Couldn't mark. Spill down to O'Meara. The Dockers away through Caleb Sarong. He wants Jackson at right half back. Now Loeb was more interested in Jackson than the football, but the umpire says close enough to the footy, it's all right. The ball's gone across the line for a throw in right half back for Freo, who's still trailed by 10 points, opening 80 seconds of the final quarter.
Played it well, Griffin Logue. Didn't want to let Jackson run. Knew the danger there. Free kick in the ruck contest. Advantage paid to North Melbourne. Davies Uniacke again. Dodges around a player. Long towards full forward. Comben in a 1-on-2. Gets off his fingertips out the back door. Cox close to the line. Overruns the footy. Ryan head down over the football. Umpire must have said he ducked because he's taken the tackle and it's going to be holding the ball. That's a tough call. Ryan put his head down to pick up the football. Zerha took him front on. In fact, Larkey did. Larkey gets the free kick.
It was smart by Larkey. Didn't rush into it, did he?
Took his time, let Ryan collect the footy, give him enough time that he looks like he can make a decision, and then pinned him.
So Nick Larkey, 2 goals in the first quarter. He's hardly touched it since then, but this is a critical shot to make it a 16-point game. He steers it home. 3 for Larkey on the back of his 6 last week. And Fremantle need 3 goals to take the lead from here. It's 9-6-60 North Melbourne leading Fremantle 6-8-44. 2.5 minutes played in the last quarter on Grandstand AFL. Sherrod Willingham and Shaneway Woden are your experts, but before we hear from them, Bridget on the boundary.
Yeah, Alistair Clarkson high-fived every player on the bench and let out some big claps after that goal. Also just keeping an eye on Nathan Wilson, who I mentioned late in the third quarter. He started this quarter on the bench. He's got some taping around his right calf, so keep an eye on him.
6 straight for the year from set shots, Larkey.
Very good.
It's just reliable, isn't it?
Got real compact action, doesn't he? Doesn't try and real kick through the ball, but keeps him low.
9 for the season so far.
Dunstall-like.
Darcy wins it down in the middle for the Dockers. Sarong had it stolen away by Cunnington. North into attack through Simpkin. Kicks inside forward 50. Pearce back, got a hand to it. Couldn't mark. Cox is there to mop up for Freo. Not sure what to do with it. Settles and then finds Hughes leading up to mark in the right back pocket. Kicks beyond defensive 50. And he finds Sarong. Sarong, short pass but accurate. Oh, Brayshaw dropped the mark. Cunnington's able to gather again to shield for North. Puts this deep, too deep inside forward 50. Had too much on it. Only man back there was Brennan Cox, and he marks defensively for Freo, who trail by 16, 4 minutes gone in the final term.
All the options covered, so he kicks for distance. Jackson drops a chest mark this time. North, just a little backwards from half forward. It's Cunnington. Hand pass to Lowe, comes inside with his hand pass to Shield. Backwards again, Cunnington is wrapped up quickly, and lying on the ground, he gets a kick forward, and it travels 15. It's paid a mark. That was freakish from Cunnington. Mark taken by Powell, kicks towards full forward. Comben with the leap, drops the mark, but some high contact.
Arm chop.
Umpire signalled high, but certainly the arm chop might have been there as well. Clark was the mismatch on Comben, and from directly in front, 30 metres out, could put the first nail in the coffin here.
Off turnover, Kangaroos are defending the ground exceptionally well in their front half.
Definitely. Set up nicely behind, aren't they?
Under a new coach, first pre-season. Not many holes there at the moment.
Comben lets himself down. Missed a gimme there, really. For a player at this level, he's missed by a long, long way out to the right. So behind, mark that one down as a real missed opportunity. 17 points is North's lead. 5 minutes gone in the final term here at Perth Stadium.
So still within 3 goals, the Dockers. Kick beyond defensive, 50 for Fremantle. It'll bounce for Jackson to gather. He does so, swooping onto it on the commentary wing. Kicks inside forward, 50. Logue went up, got a fist to it, spilled down at the back. Here's Walters. Oh, misses. So often a special from left full forward with almost nothing to aim at. Went narrow, trying to go along the ground for a minor score. 9-7-61 the Roos. The Dockers 6-9-45. 6 gone in the last. Saints still by 35 at the Docklands over the Bulldogs. 14 gone in the last there.
Kick back in comes from the co-captain McDonald. Leaping at the mark was Chapman. Interfered with. Free kick. Left half forward for Fremantle. Time not a factor just yet, but they wouldn't want to waste too much time. That kick comes off hands. Falls to Sarong, lays it off to Brayshaw. 45 out. Kick to the goal square. Getting back low. Gets a fingertip to it, and Zeeble happy to rush it through. Crowd want deliberate, they won't get it. And the margin just creeps ever closer. Another behind on the board. 6-10 plays 9-7. It's 15 points to North.
As North hug the boundary line, looking to move it beyond defensive 50. From Zeeble to Scott. Scott kicks towards right half back. Big pack forms. They all go up off hands. Spilled down towards Comben. Got a hand pass forward to Greenwood, and Hugh Greenwood's done well to get a kick away under pressure. As far as Stevenson has it on the logo, met in a strong tackle by Clark. Thought he wanted to drop the ball. Umpire says play on. Stevenson gathers again. Kicks towards right half forward. No one can mark. Spills down there for Brennan Cox to go to Wilson defensively. Goes back to fullback. Here's Ryan. And Ryan sees an opportunity on the outer side of the ground. It goes towards right half back to Banfield. Banfield with a clever kick onto Frederick. Pauses for a moment. Will send it in the Walters direction up against Core. Core front position. Got a hand to it to spoil it over the line for a throw in. Right half forward for Freo. They're about, let's say, 60 out from their attacking goal, heading to the Farmer Freeway end in this final term, to the left of our broadcast position. They trail on the scoreboard 9-7-61 to 6-10-46. North in front, nearly 8 gone in the last.
Boundary throwing at half forward here for Fremantle. Diving in Walters on top of the football. He'll be penalised here, surely. He will. Couldn't get it out. North Melbourne free kick. Cam Zurhaar.
And very good also, Cam Zurhaar. Like Shields.
I like the way they've used him in the midfield. He's a bull. He knew that as a forward. It's hard to beat him at the centre bounce now as well. North have switched to the right back pocket. Core drills the pass to the chest of Scott, almost like he was leaning out of the goal square, and now he's got a real problem. Maybe some cramp just kicking in. Kick to the wing. Good leap from Taylor. Had a decent piece of the mark. Couldn't quite claim it before he hit the deck. Banfield with a hand pass backwards to Sarong. Clever bounce kick with the outside of the boot to Henry. Fumble but regathers. Hand pass back to Brodie on the centre line. Lays off a hand pass to Wilson. Confronted. He pops one over the top to Jackson. Little chip pass sets up Clark. North flooding numbers back. Clark about 70 metres out from goal. long to the pocket. Walters has Core to beat. Used the body pretty well. Tried to draw a free kick. Then tried to take the mark. Got neither of those. It's out of play. Boundary throw in right forward pocket. Freo 15 points down. Need a goal. 9 minutes into the last quarter.
They certainly do. They find something from this stoppage. Spun in. Umpire's unhappy with something. What's happening here?
And the ruck's not nominated or something?
Not sure.
Thought they'd still just throw it either way.
Well, normally they just say, whatever team, no ruck nominated. Anyway, they've thrown it in again. And it'll come down towards Sarong, who got it to Brayshaw. Oh, back to Banfield, dropped it, gathered again to Brayshaw once more. They're backtracking here, Fremantle. They're across half forward again. It's with Aish to Sarong. Back again to Chapman. They've lost about 100 metres as it's on in turn towards Cox. They switch play to Clark and spears it into Frederick, who's just inside the forward 50. Still 25 metres from where the stoppage occurred, but he has the ball in hand and can have a shot if he likes from 55 out.
It's a big carry.
We put it up to the top of the goal square. That's where Darcy lurks. He stands there. A hop, skip and a jump. It's Frederick. Goes out to the right and runs straight into his opponent and gets tackled. He tried to take on Goldstein and lost it. Picked up by Simpkin. He's happy enough to take it over the boundary line. It'll be a throw-in. Well, that's not something you'd want to see again if you're a Dockers fan. Just needed to send it to the top of the goal square and hope for the best. They're desperate for a major. 9-7 plays 6-10. North in front, 11 gone in the last.
It's just that feeling that nothing much is working for Fremantle all day and now into the night as well. Goldstein wins it to the front. Greenwood gives it to Simpkin. Lost the footy in the tackle, but was able to soccer it forward and gain 30 metres. Controlling the football well, Pearce keeps it in. Hand pass to Hughes. Wanted to give it back, but then decided better of that. Kicking along to the pocket, Zeeble feigning for a free kick. Umpire didn't see it that way. Now a good tackle by a couple of Dockers applied. Ball comes out to Core, and North have been able to hold up well. Howe, clearing kick, falls short, and it's Hughes again.
Had to go long then, Howe.
Too far out to score, sets it up. Jackson in from the side. Can't take it, swatted away. Core dragged to ground, trying to burst his way through Banfield. Doesn't take the football with him. Frederick does, gets onto his left, bends it around, just misses to the right. The crowd was up, the goal umpire didn't go with them. Another missed opportunity for Fremantle. Nearly 12 minutes gone in the last quarter. It's North 9-7-61, Fremantle 6-11-47.
Here's Sheasel. Fair bit of responsibility on these young shoulders. Kick-in duties. He goes towards right half-back. Simpkin can only take it over the line on the bounce. Boundary throwing. 60 out from Freo's attacking goal at left half forward. What have the Dockers got in them now? How did North respond? There's only Goldstein to win it down. It was uncontested. Gave it to Scott. To Powell for North. Kick towards the commentary wing. Big collision as Comben and Wilson met shoulder to shoulder. They're both okay.
Darcy was just sitting in the forward 50 with no one rucking for Fremantle there.
No, they just said
switched on,
just ran off. Just said to Goldstein, you can have this. He's there now again. Ball going over the boundary line. Darcy does win it down. Brayshaw tackled immediately, came out the side. Davies Uniacke can't gather. Aish does. Gets a clever kick around the body. Inside forward 50. Tapped down by McDonald. Almost in trouble first time as Walters taken high. Ball turned over. Brayshaw kicks towards full forward. Banfield battling up against Cord. Cord just give him a shove in the side. Is it okay? It's gone over the boundary line for a throw-in. No. It's going to be insufficient intense. And Walters will get a chance to have a snap from deep in the left forward pocket. There was a hand in the back and the side, and then he slapped it over the boundary line, which has given the free kick anyway to Walters. He's good enough from here, Sun. He wheels around, he snaps with the right. Oh, Michael Walters, he celebrates with the crowd. He is a Docker you can almost always count on. And he kicks a vital goal for Freo's chances in this game. Fremantle had their 7th. Walters, as the sub, has come on and he's got 2. North's lead down to 8 points. 9-7-61 to Fremantle. 7-11-53. 14 gone in the last.
It was actually Jai Miss's kick. He was the closest one to that. So for Sonny Walters, just, no, I'll take this, son.
Good game awareness from Sonny.
Very. Hanging in there, Freo. Sort of couldn't quite get it to stoppage at centre back or centre wing there, the Kangaroos.
2 goals for Walters since coming on in identical fashion. Right foot snaps from deep in the pocket. Great tackle applied by Sarong, but Zerha just emerges with the football. Kicks towards half forward. Powell being hassled by Clark, brought to ground. Ball not coming out from there, and the umpire calls for a ball up between centre and centre half forward for North. So far tonight, every time they've been challenged, North Melbourne, they've responded well. Can they do it again? Fremantle was 7 goals on the board, the same total they got last week. Need a few more to win this one. Cunnington gets it forward for North, and a free kick picked out for a hold. In the marking contest between Pearce and Larkey, a jumper grab from Pearce, and Larkey, who's kicked 9 straight so far this season, can kick for his 4th tonight.
Yeah, wrap his left arm around him, it looked like, on the replay. It's stiff for defenders now. You certainly can't.
That 4th umpire, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 goals in the first quarter, and now 2 goals in the last quarter, and 4 for the match. North Melbourne back out to a 14-point gap, 10-7-67 to 7-11-53 midway through the last quarter, and yet again North Melbourne respond when challenged.
Yeah, Cunnington again. I think it was Powell too who sort of picked up that ground ball and took the ball and went to stoppage. He was outnumbered around the contest, so if the ball slips out, Fremantle generally will be away, but if they're able to retain the footy, keep it in, go to
just halve it and get to the stoppage.
Yeah. Hey, Cunnington again, the big bull, wins clearance. And they'll win that contest forward of the ball.
Ten goals for the season for Nick Larkey. 6 against West Coast, 4 tonight. Start to the year he's had. He's Coleman in the middle, wins it down. Zerha out after it, is able to gather for North, throws it on the boot, sends it towards the boundary on the southern wing. It'll tumble across and be called insufficient intent.
It's ridiculous, that one.
That's a little bit.
Yeah, that one's a bit
iffy, might call it.
He's under pressure.
There was a lot of space that he had to work with. This is all the umpires thinking, but yeah, sometimes pretty tough as Clark takes the free kick and goes back inside defensive 50 for the Dockers to Wilson. He'll kick it into the left back pocket where it's marked by Cox. Henry leads up. Kick wasn't great, bounces in front of him, so not a mark. He's under pressure straight away by Howe. Has to go short, and that's a good mark to Pearce. Had the height advantage, but nevertheless was under pressure against Turner, right up against the boundary line. He's at left half back.
Done well here, the Kangaroos.
They've got numbers back. They've filled up all the spots. Pearce kicks to a 2-on-2 or 2-on-3 contest in favour of North Melbourne at left half forward, and North win it down through Cunnington to Bergman, who spears the pass back to Turner, who marks it right half forward.
He's got Simpkin running hard for him, sets it up on top of his head, and he uses the body well. Outmarks Switkowski. 2 kicks from goal. Stevenson charging into the pocket. That lead's ignored.
Had to give it to him.
Yeah, he was off there.
He was on, wasn't he?
Too much speed for Wilson. Kick goes over his head in the end. Looking for Larkey or perhaps Stevenson on the crumbs. Can't keep it inside. Boundary throw in 35 out. Right forward pocket. 14 points. The margin for North Melbourne. 18 minutes gone in the last quarter. Fremantle need to find at least 3 goals from here. And they're deep in defence. Jackson wins the tap. Sarong applies a tackle. Everyone stops to look at the umpire. He stops play with a ball up. Cunnington last man up. Ball up, 45 out from goal. Right forward pocket. North by 14.
Throwing up. Jackson with the more telling tap. Got it down to Brayshaw. Hand pass to Hughes. Goes beyond defensive 50. towards the offensive point of the centre square. Amos is up and he marks on his chest. He'll move it on quickly this time. Kicks towards right half forward. Best position was low. He had to sit for it up against his opponent in Brodie and took the grab for North.
Terrible option.
They need someone coming back at Amos in that situation. All of the Fremantle forwards are running towards goal, which is great if you can get it out over the back. But not
fast play, was it?
Fast play.
No overlap. No handball receives.
So Zeeble to Goda, right back inside defensive 50. North work it around through Sheasel. He's calm beyond his years. And short to Bergman. Signed a new couple-year deal just the other day to stay in the colours of North Melbourne. He'll kick beyond defensive 50. Big packet right half back. Common got hands to it and he got infringed. Not taken high. He'll have the free kick for North. 19 gone in the last. North at 10-7-67. The Dockers 7-11-53. Grandstand AFL. Clint Wilden with you in commentary alongside Dave Lindsay.
Alistair Clarkson got a possession there on the bench as well and gave the thumbs up to Comben before handing it back to him to take the free kick. Down the line he goes with his kick and a strong tackle applied by Greenwood on Chapman, taking him and the footy over the line.
Goldstein just had a little rest, come back on fresh for the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Crowd tonight 40,487. So just breaking over that 40,000 mark. Boundary throw and falls short of the rucks. Neither touch it. Henry just pushed as he kicked. Kick was not well handled by Clark. Cunnington comes through with a toe poke, goes and collects the footy, tries to stand up in the tackle. Hand pass off to Zerha, lays it off to Davies Uniacke. 50 out, long on goal. There it is. Game, set and match for North, you'd think, and probably the 3 votes for Davies Uniacke as well. What a game he has played. 27 possessions and a goal for Davies Uniacke. And North lead at 11-7-73 to 7-11-53. 21 minutes gone in the last quarter. North by 20 points here on Grandstand AFL.
How good is Cunnington to stand up in a tackle and just release? He's been doing it for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
But again, they're just
so strong over it, isn't he?
Very good.
Davies Uniacke, 8 clearances as well. Yeah. He's just been dynamic at the stoppages.
10 ground ball gets. His contest game is elite.
Nearly 600 metres gained.
40,487, by the way. A record crowd between these two sides. Beating the previous best, 40,033, back here at Perth Stadium in 2019. Froud won the last 4 games between these sides. That run looks like it's very likely to come to an end. They work the ball inside their forward 50, but Sheasel's there again, calmly for North. Kicks around the body into the centre square. Switkowski goes back and gathers to Young running by. Young for Fremantle, inside forward 50. Walters had 3 to beat in that battle. Was able to get a hand to it, spilled it down to Jackson, gave it on in turn, looked to work it away towards Sarong. Again to Walters, back to Sarong. He's taken high, is he? Yes. It's the non-controlling umpire who actually spotted it from about 30 metres away, but Sarong will have a free kick. He looks to play on quickly, runs to 50, sends it towards goal. He misses. A minor score. Missing to the left-hand side. 20 points the margin, becomes 19, 11-7-73. That's North to Freo, 7-12-54, 23 gone in the last.
Zeeble short to Sheasel in the back pocket.
Everything's just got to be corridor-based now for Fremantle. Play on.
Take risks.
Don't take risks.
Sheasel goes long and high down the boundary line. Darcy in the air, brings it to ground. Davies Uniacke on a run, but he was tracked well that time by Brayshaw. Caught him holding the ball. Brayshaw quickly releases Aish, gives it back to Brayshaw. 2 kicks from goal. Brayshaw sends it long. Jackson in the contest with Logue, who gets a good fist to the footy. Ball hits the deck. Logue follows up with a hand pass to Zeeble. Well tackled by Amos. And will be holding the ball. No, it'll be a ball up. 30 metres out from goal for Freo. Down by 19 points, 23 played in the last quarter. Time starting to be a real factor here for the Dockers. From the ball up, Davies Uniacke again with a clearance. Sends it 50 metres down the line towards the wing. Comben fists it further forward. Chapman in best position, cuts that one off. Hand pass down the line to Ryan. He's caught, taken over the line. Great tackle again. Smaller player, Kane Turner, doing a fine job. Throw in between the interchange gates here for North Melbourne. Their lead is 19 points. They've got about 5 minutes of footy to hang on here for a very, very impressive win.
Throwing in again. One down by Darcy. Only as far as Simpkin, though. Gathers for North and kicks high up into the air to land on the attacking point of the centre square at right half forward. Spills down off hands and taken by Ryan. It's away from Stevenson. Good kick into the middle of the ground. Spots Switkowski. Hand passes forward to Sarong. Thumps it inside the attacking 50. O'Meara just able to get the hands free for a moment of Bergman to complete the mark. He has it in the right forward pocket. Tighter than a 45-degree angle to the right. He'll kick on goal from, let's say, 40 out.
Well done, Luke Ryan.
The dare.
Yeah, dash. Took on a couple of tackles. Again, back through the corridor. He was already in it, but just wasn't going wide.
For the Dockers to have any hope, Jager O'Meara must kick his first goal in purple. He moves in. He liked it the moment it left the boot. Teammates come from everywhere. Perhaps there's the slightest sniff. O'Meara kicks Fremantle's 8-12-60 to North, 11-7-73. Northsley back to 13 points. 25 minutes gone in the last.
Did everything right there, I thought. Bergman as well. Really pushed back hard to O'Meara. A strong body is able to keep him at bay and keep hold the advantage and win the one-on-one. Been okay tonight, Jager. Without being outstanding.
Yeah, definitely serviceable.
Interesting move here from Fremantle. Brendan Cox is going to start on the wing, but right on the corner of the square, as close as you can get to half forward. It's going to play as an extra tall in attack.
It's going to push forward.
Darcy wins in the ruck, but Davies-Uniacke is there once more. Hands it off to Simpkin. Long towards full forward. 3 one-on-ones down there for North Melbourne, but Pearce wins this one opposed to Larkey. They need to go fast here, Fremantle. Pearce straight up the middle, hoping for Darcy. He's got a few to beat. Can't take it. It gets out the back door. Taken by Zeeble. Hand pass back to Howe. Kicks very wide, hoping to find his target out there in Kane Turner, but just as happy to see it clear his head and trickle over for a boundary throw-in. It's a 13-point lead to North. 26 played in the last. As the umpire spins it back into play, Darcy in front, flicks it over the back. Young swooping on the loose footy. He's tackled, gets a hand pass forward towards Sarong, loses possession to Sheasel, pushed off his kick. Goldstein shoves Darcy out the way, illegally according to the umpire. Free kick to the ruckman, hands it off quickly to Aish. Short pass to Sarong. 80 metres out from goal, swings onto the right, stabs it in low, it works out perfectly. Not the way it was designed, but he'll take it anyway. And O'Meara to have a shot from goal, same distance, opposite side of the ground, this time 45-degree angle left of centre.
I thought poor decision, that one. I thought that was pushing the side from Goldstein.
It's Jager O'Meara to get Fremantle back within 7 points. Successful just a couple of minutes ago for his first goal in purple. The number 2 on his back, aiming for goal number 2, and he slots it. There's still time and still some belief for Fremantle. North Melbourne lead at 11-7-73 to 9-12-66. It's a 7-point lead to North Melbourne. Sharad Wellingham, Shane Woden. Can Fremantle sneak home from here?
There's still time.
It'll be tough, but they can do it.
Playing with them.
But even just the aggression with the Darcy at the ruck knock. Over the back, trying something.
Again, all corridor focus. Brendan Cox will do the same. Slide forward as a wingman.
Their willingness to play on from the mark. Like, I don't understand why they can't do that normally.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be remarkable if a former Hawk is able to do this in a game full of former Hawks? Alistair Clarkson, Liam Shields, Howe have done so well, but Jager O'Meara has put Fremantle right into this contest. Just 7 points the difference. So it's North will get the clearance. Oh, Davies-Uniacke run down by the big fella. Darcy got him. Ball came out to Aish. Kicks towards full forward. Wanted O'Meara. Spills away off hands. Oh, Switkowski saw it go by. He goes back to gather again. Shares it with Brayshaw. Onto Sarong. Wobbles a kick towards full forward. Sheasel can't gather. It spills down. Brendan Cox. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. It's off hands, and Brendan Cox, the most unlikely goal kicker, has put Fremantle to within a point. This is some sort of a comeback at Perth. How on earth has this happened? 11-7-73 North. Fremantle 10-12-72. It is a 1-point ball game. They couldn't deal with it, and Brendan Cox was there.
Davies Uniacke had to go left. Tried to do too much in the middle ground, and they got caught travelling. They just kept the ball alive, didn't they?
They kept the ball moving. O'Meara down forward. Stroke of genius. Cox pushing really hard forward on the wing position and sliding down aggressively. It's great.
And a good move by the coaching staff.
3 goals in 4 minutes to Fremantle. They'll come out of the middle again. Brayshaw with the left boot sends it very wide. It'll bounce just inside the field of the play. How will the umpires see this? Throw it in. There's no consistency.
The Zerhart one was...
Yeah, that's exactly the same.
I mean, there's no intent to put it out of play, obviously, but there wasn't in the previous infringement as far as the umpire saw. Boundary throw in, 75 out. Darcy and Goldstein locked in a wrestle. It comes to Cunnington. His kick was smothered by Young. Important hand in there from Hughes to get it to Young. Sarong's hand pass nearly intercepted. Davies Uniacke wins an important ball. Hand pass off to Shield. High up and under. Pearce, was he interfered with? Yes. Comben back with the flight straight into the body of Pearce. Larkey goes to ground trying to milk a free kick. He won't get it. Pearce will have it at left half back. Fremantle down by a point.
Fremantle move it to Hughes. Kicks to a big pack at left half forward. Up there, Goldstein. Couldn't mark it. Spill down. McDonald tackled by Walters. He's taken the ground. Holding the ball. Michael Walters will get the free kick. 50 out from goal. What does he do here?
Darcy has to get into a dangerous spot.
He's there at full forward. Kick goes in his direction. Off hands. It's down to Howe. He's tackled. The ball, will it be locked in? It will. Right. Davies Uniacke over the top, made sure it was staying there.
Wow. Goal line for the Kangaroos.
They have to get an extra back there, don't they?
Yeah.
They haven't recognised it yet. The Zeebel's in the goal square on O'Meara.
Dying seconds. Goldstein won it down to Hughes. Tackled immediately. Schultz picks it up. He's got it held to him. He's thrown to ground. It's locked in again.
Be careful not to give away a free kick here.
North lead by 1 point. Fremantle inside their forward 50. Darcy palmed it down. Ricochets off shins. It comes to Cox again. Somehow looks to work it forward. Fremantle can't rush it behind. It spills out to McDonald. He's tackled over the boundary line.
That's well played by the Kangaroos' defence, not to be
not give up that point. It wasn't Sheasel, was it?
It's hectic stuff.
Oh, it's a great game of footy.
It was Sheasel.
Throw in, still inside 50. Darcy with the fist. Can he find someone to connect with? Aish hooks it high to the hot spot. Players come from everywhere. Fisted away. Big kick out of the area from Curtis Taylor, but straight to the boundary. That will be a free kick. The crowd will roar, and Fremantle will have one last chance. Too far out to score. The kick comes into Ryan. He's still too far out. They've got to get it in. 80 metres out. Long to the goal square. Darcy's there. Jackson's there. Off a fist. In the goal square. North clear. North will win. Ball goes out of play. What happened first? Siren or free kick? Umpires have a chat. Which way is it going? Full time. Join in the chorus if you're a North fan. North have won by a point.
Is that not deliberate?
I think they're saying the ball didn't cross the line before the siren. We've heard a little bit of the North Melbourne song. The umpires are going to have a chat again here.
Can you change your decision?
Alex Pearce is coming in to talk to one of the field umpires and the boundary umpire. Luke McDonald comes across.
If they've made the call, it'll be the first time they've reversed the decision.
It's full time. North have won. North Melbourne win by a point at Perth Stadium.
I'm happy with that. That's the decision.
Well, they made the call. Howe threw it on the boot. He just wanted to get rid of it. And the call can only be that the siren had sounded before it crossed the line, because it would have been insufficient intent under anything else.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
if the siren has sounded before the ball has crossed, and we'll be looking at this in the slow motion, I've no doubt, But North Melbourne, they hang on by the narrowest of margins. Alistair Clarkson, his reign at the Kangaroos begins with back-to-back wins.
Join in the chorus and sing it one and all. Join in the chorus, North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.
Oh, take a deep breath. What a finish. Freo almost didn't deserve to be as close as they were. They came from the clouds, and there are a few of them above us tonight. Somehow they found themselves camped inside their forward 50, but some desperate defence by North, and again that youngster Sheasel on one occasion, and then Howe, who might have been a bit lucky, but nevertheless knew he just had to deal with it. I do wonder if Fremantle, for whatever it's worth, should have thought about somehow just trying to rush it through. North were desperate to make sure they didn't happen.
Get the draw.
Get the draw. Or at least, in the case, rush it through, you've got the draw, and North are forced to kick in.
Potentially, yeah.
Easy to say from up here. But what a game of football. Davies Uniacke, who I reckon's probably got 6 Brownlow votes.
Yes.
Because he was outstanding against West Coast. He's been outstanding again tonight. 11-7-73 to the Dockers, 10-12-72. And it has to be said that that was a spectacular finish to a game of Australian football. Alistair Clarkson, he's beaten the WA sides on either side of the country to start his reign. Rolled West Coast by 5, and now Fremantle by 1 point. What a result for North. How much confidence will that give them from here? And next up, another very, very winnable game against his old side at York Park. That will be the venue for North Melbourne against Hawthorn next week. What a contest that could be. Fremantle, they will be looking to open their accounts in Derby 56. It is a home derby for the Dockers, but nevertheless, an almighty challenge for them. And a nice touch here downstairs, just watching Andrew Brayshaw run across to Alistair Clarkson. Just a little hug and a few words exchanged.
I watched that whole scenario. Clarko actually got Jager to go grab Brayshaw from the huddle. I wonder what the reasoning behind that was.
Mates with his dad?
Is he?
I'd reckon.
Okay.
From the time at North Melbourne. Mark Brayshaw, of course, spent a bit of time there.
Maybe he's known him while he's grown up.
And, of course, he was there. His dad was also there for a long time. So I'd reckon that's probably the link there. Might have known him for a long time. So North Melbourne are victorious. The Saints were never in doubt at the Docklands. They win by 51. So victorious over the Bulldogs. 14-8-92 to 5-11-41. So the Saints, new coaches everywhere having success. Ross Lyon with 2 straight wins to start his second incarnation at St Kilda.
Tipping this week stinks.
It's tough.
It's tough early, isn't it?
Yeah, we're on air for another 18 minutes or so, so we finish up at 7:30 in the West. Still a bit of time and hopefully a chance to have a chat from someone from the North Melbourne rooms. They're still taking their time to make their way down into the rooms. Understandably, North, and they do have like a number of the Melbourne clubs, but North in particular because of the number of WA greats who have played for them. Cable, Glendenning, for example, have a huge supporter base. I'll chuck in Peter Spencer just because he's a great fella. A huge supporter base in WA, and their fans, they've stuck around for a long time, and North Melbourne making their way around the ground to thank them for it. It's the first time since 2018 they've beaten the Dockers here in the West. The goal kickers, Nick Larkey's got 10 for the season. He got 4 tonight. 2 to Taylor, 2 to Stevenson. The most vital, perhaps, to Davies Uniacke. Also, Jai Simpkin kicked a beauty and Tom Powell got 1 too. While for Fremantle, they left their run just a little bit late. Brennan Cox almost achieved the miracle. O'Meara with a couple. Walters as a sub got 2. And then singles to Schultz, to Brodie, to Frederick, to Cox, to Switkowski and to Banfield. And just recapping again right at the start, Nat Fyfe, if you haven't heard the rest of the game, didn't play. He was a late out due to a foot problem. Jai Amos coming in for the Fremantle Dockers. North continue to make their way around the ground. We'll head down into the rooms with Bridget Lacey for the song as soon as we can. Bridget downstairs waiting for North Melbourne. Sum it up for us, but goodness me, that's tough to do considering it was a game that North had in their control and the Dockers, well, they darn near pinched it. Yep. Shane Woden and Sharad Willingham on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and Sport Digital.
It was probably an arm wrestle for 3 quarters, really, wasn't it, Jared? And then, probably had control of the game, the Kangaroos, for that first 20 minutes, and then probably what Fremantle should have done last week in that last 10 and how they fought their way back in and made a few changes structurally to be able to assist that and get it done, able to fight their way back. But I think the best team on the night won this game of footy, deservedly. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't easy, but again, character building, fighting, building hope at the Kangaroos. And for a young group like that, there's a couple of old stages in there, but just terrific effort to come across here against a really good team. Let's not think about that. They're a good team, Fremantle, and they stood up. And there's some good players in that Kangaroos lineup, and just important moments, win contest, and Larkey was the main man kicking 4, but I thought their midfield was terrific tonight, the Kangaroos, led well by Lucas Daviuniak, Zerha, Ben Cunnington. They were outstanding.
I'm more impressed by North than disappointed in Fremantle's performance. So I think that's kind of what I expect from Fremantle this year. Just kind of, I reckon they're going to be around the middle of the pack. And that's due to their lack of forward cohesion.
Score.
They can't score, which is the most important thing. So while they might not get beaten convincingly, I just don't think they've got the ability to win that well. Until they sort that out, I think that's where they're going to be. So that was more impressive from North. I loved the way they took ground. Like you said, Davies-Uniacke and Cunnington and Zerha through the middle there were incredible. Really good.
Let's head down into the rooms. They'll be loud, I reckon, Bridget Lacey.
Friends and family have filtered in and they're giving a huge cheer to the players. Danny Laidley's down here, of course, the former coach. She's been hugging all the coaches, all the players, and they're pumped. I particularly enjoy the T-shirt from one of Cam Zerha's mates, I'm going to assume, "Beware the Bull," it reads. They're just coming into the circle now, all enjoying the applause as they come in. Daniel Howe into the middle, and he's getting the usual treatment with the sports drink. Here we go. For you shortly.
We'll head straight back to you, Bridget, when we can. With you for another 12 minutes or so. Let's have a quick look at some of the numbers, Dave Lindsay, and we'll also have to get the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year and the Christian Medal. But first, some of the numbers with Dave.
Well, they're still very closely matched, these two sides, throughout the stat sheet. 378 disposals to Fremantle, North Melbourne 374. The marks were 101 to 95 in favour of Fremantle. And the inside 50s. In the end, Fremantle +7, but many of those would have come in the last minute or two as they kept searching for what would have been a winning goal, but they couldn't quite find that one in the end. Leading possession winners for North Melbourne, Harry Sheasel, 30 possessions, 22 kicks, 8 hand passes. Luke Davies-Uniacke, 16 kicks and 14 hand passes for a total of 30. He kicked a goal as well and had 6 tackles. Cam Zerha with 26 possessions, Jack Zeeble 26 possessions, and we'll check in shortly.
We will, because let's head down to one of the players of the moment, if not the player of the moment. He's with Bridget Lacey.
Yes, lucky enough to have Luke Davies-Uniacke with us. The boys in the box thought you were BOG today, but I'm sure you're just very happy to be 2-2.
Yeah, bloody hell, 2-0. It's so surreal. Couldn't dream of a better start from the boys, and it was just a great team effort.
How were you feeling in those last couple of minutes? It was pretty frantic stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It was frantic as. Unfortunately, turned it over for us in the middle, which I wasn't too happy about. So, yeah, it was basically just flood the back line from there and just hang on.
You've been at this footy club a few years now, but last year you had 2 wins for the entire season, and now you're 2 from 2. Can you believe it?
Nah, yeah, like I said, it's so surreal, and just so proud of the boys. And yeah, like I said, I couldn't dream of a better start. So for this season. So yeah, we're stoked.
I'll send you upstairs. The guys up there have got some questions for you. We've got Clint Wilden, Dave Lindsay, Sharad Wellingham, and Shane Woden.
Luke, Sharad Wellingham here. Congratulations on the 2-0 start and a great start for yourself, mate. What was the focus for yourself over summer? We've really seen you come out and play some great footy. I know we're only 2 games in, but what was your main focus over summer?
My main focus over summer was just, trying to stay fit, stay healthy, try not to peak right in the pre-season, because, we want to be peaking in the season. And now that we're 2 games in, I can feel myself just getting a little bit fitter now, a little bit more worn into the game. So yeah, the round 1 was a bit of a challenge in terms of just a change of pace from pre-season games to in-season, but now we're starting to really get the hang of it.
And I reckon your midfield group at the moment, or the last couple of weeks, I keep saying at the moment, but it's only been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You seem really dynamic at the stoppages, and you're getting a lot of space, and when you're seeing that space in front of you, you're willing to run and take the game on. Is that a direction from Clarko coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are sort of my strengths, is sort of getting inside the contest to outside. And I was actually playing against Andy Brayshaw today, and we happened to play school footy with each other, and he seemed to be the one that tackled me running outside the stoppage. So goes to show that he knows my game really well. But look, each one of us have a key role to play. Huey and Cunners have a little bit of the bigger boys in there, and they're a bit more inside, and Giles is a bit more inside-outside, and myself are inside-outside.
Luke, Shane Woden, well done, mate. Fantastic performance to come over here. Not an easy trip to come to Western Australia and take away the 4 points. Mate, the synergy within the group, it's a new environment, obviously, with Clarko coming in. It's a new style of footy. It's a new game plan. But looking above onto you guys down there, the synergy, particularly defensively tonight, was really impressive. It's a work in progress, I know, but early days, the system seems to be working.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Clarko's key message coming over here. We had a bloody long meeting last night, just about the chemistry and creating those bonds, and just looking out for each other when we're out here. We're away from home. Just got to build the little things up. Doesn't matter if it's picking up the bloke, just do the little things. And that's what it was all about today, and just looking after each other. And the crowd was amazing. Our fans over here are awesome. They played a role today as well.
Mate, how's Ben Cunnington been for you as a stalwart of this footy club and what he's able to do? I know he's an important player for this group, and he's had a tough time, but his mentorship, he's a role model, I reckon, for yourself. Would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely. From day one, he's my locker buddy. So, yeah, he's been enormous, and obviously he's had a tough road last year. And to see him reaping the rewards now and getting out there playing with us, seeing the smile on his face, it's awesome.
Special guest downstairs. He was enormous tonight. Luke Davies-Uniacke is with us. It will be Siren Gate, I've no doubt, Luke. Can you talk us through the last second or so and what the umpires told you guys as everyone converged, wondering what on earth was happening in that last moment?
Yeah, well, there was probably 18 blokes in the D50 from both sides of that last couple of seconds. And when we got the kick out, we weren't sure if it was deliberate. They were going to pay deliberate or not, but the siren happened to go before the play went out of bounds. So a little bit of confusion there, but it was awesome to see the boys get over the line. And I made that silly mistake in the middle, which sort of cost us a little bit. So I'll work on that, and like I said, just proud of the boys.
So that's what the officials had to say, because there was a long chat between the officials and a number of players. They said that they'd heard the siren sound.
Yeah, exactly right. I actually ran over, stopped celebrating just because, like I said, the Freo boys were looking at a bit sus and what was going on as well. So I had to just put the cue in the rack with the celebrations and just figure out what was going on.
It was very weird. The song started, the song stopped. We didn't know. Harry Sheasel, who, goodness me, has been impressive. And just that little toe poke at the end for all the wonderful things he's done. Just so cool for someone who is just, 18 years of age. It's remarkable.
Oh, it's crazy. He was training in the forward line all summer, and then round one, Clarko throws him down back. And the way he delivers the ball to us, he's just calmness. He's just so composed. He looks like a 250 vet out there. And props to him. He works so hard over the summer. And look, he's fitted into our side seamlessly.
It was a tremendous result. It was great to watch, and you're right, North have an enormous amount of fans here in the West. They will go home very happy.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, and well done on the season start for you so far as well.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Luke Davies-Uniacke, I reckon he's got 6 Brownlow votes. I'm prepared to say that.
Oh, I'm with you.
He's been tremendous.
He dominated last week.
This is the controversy. The umpires, we heard directly from a player who was there, heard the siren go out. And Ben Cameron, bless him, because he's right across this sort of stuff. The end of the quarter occurs when a field umpire or emergency umpire hears the siren sounded by the timekeepers to signal the end of the quarter. The field umpire shall acknowledge the siren and bring play to an end by blowing a whistle and holding both arms above their head. For the avoidance of doubt, if immediately before hearing the siren to end a quarter, the field umpire is of the opinion the player should be awarded a free kick or mark, the field umpire shall signal that players come to an end and then award the free kick or mark to the player. A free kick should not be awarded when the football has been kicked and after the field umpire has heard the siren lands out of bounds on the full. So here's where the question comes in.
Didn't go on the full.
Well, no, but that's just the overarching rule. Here's where the question comes in. Obviously, they've heard it, but they haven't signalled it.
Yeah.
So the umpires must have just said, look, we've heard it go, but we didn't signal it.
Yeah.
So, sorry, everybody. Between the ball going out and us not being able to signal it, we've decided
it went out after I heard it.
Yeah, it's gone out after I've heard it, but not before I've been able to signal.
Which we see sometimes these days where umpires come together saying, I heard it. You might not have in the forward pocket, but in the middle of the ground, I heard it. So it's gone.
Yeah.
So we have seen that happen before. So I imagine that was the chat. There's 4 of us out here. Did anyone hear it before it crossed the line?
Yeah.
Boundary umpires there. They had everyone involved.
So I think it's one of those, to the absolute letter of the law, Fremantle fans will be filthy about this. To the letter of the law, they haven't signalled that they've heard it, but that's what the chat was about. Have you heard it?
Hear it?
Did you hear the siren before the ball crossed the line? Because if you did, then play stops at the end of the quarter when we've heard the siren. We've heard it, but we haven't had an opportunity to signal we've heard it before the ball's crossed the line. In our opinion, this is the umpiring group, they've said, well, we think that the game had finished and therefore North Melbourne win.
Yep.
And let's not forget, it was going to be a 50-metre shot from the boundary line to score.
Yes.
Just to get a draw.
Yes.
And potentially a goal to win it, Jamie Elliott style. But
haven't seen a replay. I'd love to see a replay. Who was the closest Freo player?
Well, Sonny was...
Sonny?
he was lining up pretty quick.
That's very true. And he's been able to get away with that in the past. What a remarkable finish. It was it was quite incredible how Fremantle actually were able to fight their way into that.
A couple of position moves were pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, 7 forwards.
Yep. O'Meara out of the goal square.
Yes. Kick the 2 one-on-ones. Brendan Cox goes forward, make it 7 forwards. So they were good decisions from the coaching box to be able to win the game. You open up. Probably something they should have done last week as well with Brendan Cox.
Or at the start of the game.
Took 20 marks.
And again, I'm not trying to be smart when I say this. All of a sudden, when Fremantle decide to actually move the ball quickly, because they have to, how much better do they look?
Looks amazing. I said it during the call. Why can't they do that? Are they too worried about getting scored against on turnover? But they're not scoring. They have to score to win a game.
I'm with you. I agree. They just more play on from mark.
Ben's just sent me another text, bless him. He's right across this. He might have moved to Melbourne, but we still love you, Benny. Yeah, the umpires said on the mic the ball didn't cross the line before the siren.
Okay.
And so they've heard the siren sound. So even if they haven't signalled it, which will be that'll be the talking point, they've heard it, they've heard the siren go, so the game's finished. Which I think, again, without we getting to the Tiki Touchwood sort of stuff, that was my thought watching it live. The siren had sounded, and that was just bad luck. We're talking seconds.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking fractions of seconds, actually.
I thought the field umpire just inside 50, close to the Telstra
the logo,
had raised the arms.
Okay.
If I recall, because I looked at him because as he was coming towards the boundary, as the siren sounded, arms were up.
Okay.
I'd love to look at the replay again.
We're actually seeing it on the screen here. Now, you can't see the umpire that you speak of on that, but I reckon our television broadcasters will be having a look at the behind the goals vision.
It's the one talking to Pearce.
Yeah, so he's continued coming in, and I think he's the player who's come in and said, look, I've heard it sound. We're just watching this as we lean across to have a look at one of the replay screens.
I think they deserve to win the game of footy, North Melbourne.
Yeah, very quickly, by the way. 3-2-1, ABC Football of the Year.
Yeah, really tough.
Got about 20 seconds.
Okay. For best on ground, Luke Ryan 1, Cam Zerha 2, and then obviously Luke Davies-Uniacke for the 3. Then for the Christian medal, obviously Luke Ryan gets a 3, James Age 2, Caleb Sarong the 1.
Wrapping it up here from Perth Stadium. What a win, North Melbourne. They're able to go back-to-back to start 2023. They win by a point over the Dockers. Grandstand AFL continues tomorrow. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.